Who's coming with me? It's a short shot, the source now, taking over the game, put it on padlock. With a better roster, sickness to play the lobster. Let them niggas hate, but revenge will never stop us. It's a short shot, the source now, taking over the game, put it on padlock. With a better roster, sickness to play the lobster. Let them niggas hate, but revenge will never stop us. Kill the cancer, you can call me a sick assassin. Cut the chains, you can call me LeBron James. Make a decision, but you never had me in derision. Changing the vision, but more dim that cause division. For real, never in submission like I need permission. Nigga steady telling lies like a politician. Nigga need to cool it down, but we the new edition. Yes, yeah, the name is the source. Check the reinvention. For real, you think we not prepared for the fallout? Watch us stack this information. Watch us.
Yo, we back. Source in the building. What's going on, family? All right, man. So I know y'all been patiently waiting for the show. We appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in to the Source Debate League. Right? For those that don't know, my name is YirmeYah. Please say the Yah. Right? I am and have been operating the Source right alongside with the SUC, the board. Shout out to the SUC, man. And we got a special guest tonight in the building. My brother, my elder, one of my teachers, Priest Danyaahla. Now this is special because a lot of people don't know Priest Danyaahla been supporting me from the beginning of this whole debate thing, right? When I mean, if you go back when I won the belt in the first debate that I had, when I won the belt, Priest Danyaahla was a judge. You understand? And has been, supporting me as we made our transition, development of the Source. And so he had a major discussion over there with Jabari. And I saw that, man, me and the brothers was talking about it in the SUC. And I was like, yo, I got to get him on so we can kind of discuss this, man, because all people want to do is just discredit us when it comes to us being Hebrew Israelites, or even the possibility of us descending from those people, right? Without giving us real objections to the information. And it's like it's been a continuous type of rejection of that possibility. No matter how many sources we bring out, how many historical references we bring out, no matter how much archaeology we go into, no matter how much chronography we deal with, no matter how much migration patterns we point out, it's always a objection to that point. So I wanted to bring him on, man, and we got the Source in the building, man. So before I introduce him, man, we got the Blue Collar Scholar in the building. Talk to us, family. You on mute, D-Red. You on mute, D-Red. All right, man. We got the middleweight champion in the building. King Seth, talk to us, family.
So y'all, man, shalom, hotel, peace, Islam, everybody out there, man. Y'all know, hey, the Roy Jones of the Source, you know what I'm saying, middleweight champ. Hey, I'm just saying, man, I ain't seen, ain't nobody want to come up against me, man. Like, what's up? Like, hey, but I'm finna
We
listen
got
in
something
on
brewing,
this.
though, King Seth. You just
Man,
hold
hey,
your brother. We got something brewing.
boys around here discrediting our history like like it's not written, like it never happened. Now, man, I gotta address that. I gotta address that for all of Africa. I gotta address that for all the Israelites. I gotta address that just for black folk, period, in America. You got me twisted, Chief Holiday, James Holiday, the dude with the two guns, that played poker in the Old West Holiday, whichever holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, October, nigga, whatever you want to call yourself, I don't care. You denying this here history, man. Say, I'm gonna come after you, man. King Self, man. For real. I'm trying to see you, Chief, I guess. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But hey, I'm on to hear a good discussion today, a good debate or whatever. You know, this the source, SUC, man.
That's right,
You know what
Al.
I'm saying? Peace.
That's right. Blue collar scholar back in the building, man. Talk to us, family.
Shit, what it do, baby? Oh man, Kool-Aid. Shit, ready to get this interview on with the homie Danyaahla, man. Me and him been uh, conversating for years. So we go way back, chopping this stuff up, man. So just ready to get this in because I want to put him on the hot seat about why he pounced on that dude, man, when he had him. I think he had him and right in the headlock, man. I think he kind of let him out, should let him crawl to the ropes, man, so the ref can get him off of him. So I'm just ready to have this conversation.
That's right, man. That's right, man. We got the founder of the source in the building. Tanks on the ground. General Yashar, man. What's going on, brother?
Hey, shalom, family. Sound kind of funny right now. Got a little stuffy nose, little head cold going on, but I'm here. I'm here to support my family. Get some understanding from a whole nother side of I guess you could say, the globe. Dealing with Jabari and his thought process and his understanding. So we're gonna break this thing down and hopefully, the family that's listening in, paying attention, can get edified through our elder priest Danyaahla.
That's right,
Shalom.
man. And last but not least, man, special guest, Priest Danyaahla. Welcome to the source, man.
Yo, peace and blessings, and Thawada for having me. Shout out to Brother King Seth. Shout out to General Yashar. Shout out to D-Red, the blue collar scholar. That name is well earned. I don't wake up hardly any morning without that brother, man, dropping some PDFs, some sources, some primaries in my inbox every day, man. That brother's definitely a researcher. So shout out to him. Shout out to you, YirmeYah, as well. You already said it best, man. You my little brother, man, upcoming elder. I love you to death. I love what you're doing. So peace and blessings, man. So D-Red said he's going to put me on the hot seat for letting Jabari off the hook. So I'm in trouble. Sheesh. Okay.
Yeah. So, man, listen. I want to talk to us, man, about how this whole thing got set up. I know you said he's been wanting to have a sit down with you for a while. How did this whole thing get kind of set up, man? Because I don't know, man. I'm kind of confused on you and the brother, you and the brother's relationship, man. Sarnetta, man. I'm real confused. Well, I understand it, but talk to us about how that came about, and you finally making the decision to sit down, because I think it's been a while since you've been over there.
Yeah. So Sarnetta's relationship goes back before me to Brother Bunloya. Bunloya and myself founded my camp, which is Lions of Israel. So Sarnetta's relationship goes back to Bunloya before me, right? But Bunloya, as we know, passed away. And so the whole thing with the Cameron trial debate, originally Captain Tazaryak was in the spot that I was in. He was supposed to be a part of that team. But at the last minute, whatever reason, ISUPK decided they did not want to be a part of the debate. So General Yashar, Nasi Yashuvel, Zion Lex, et cetera, they decided to add me to the mix, which, of course, I never got a chance to speak at the debate due to time constraints for the building, whatever. But his spirit always took to me because, he had all these so-called super scholars and Shaka, this one, that one, bringing information, Reggie, whatever. But I would always bring information to debunk whatever it is they were saying, right? So Sarnetta's spirit took to me, and we just forged a relationship from Cameron trial on up. So what happened was Jabari wrote a book called 7 African Lies, which I told him was trash, right? No disrespect to the brother, I told him it was trash. And so Sarnetta brought the book and gave it to me, and I read the book, and I was like, this is trash. So Jabari and I were supposed to have a discussion for at least like 2 years now. But every time we turn around, a debate or a discussion is supposed to happen, there's always a more mega person he wants to talk to. He wants to talk to Garfield. He wants to talk to Shaka. He wants to talk to Zaryak. He wants to talk to Zion Lex. He wants to talk to this one, that one, the third one. So I, live and let live. Like, go ahead. I don't give a damn. I'm not pressed. So all those discussions took place. And then so recently what happened, I'm just trying to bring it in and hone it in real quick. What happened was, as y'all brothers know, Brother Josh from Absolute Bible Truth did a rebuttal video to Jabari's so-called misogyny in the Bible PowerPoint that he did. So Josh did a rebuttal video to that. Josh reached out to me and was like, can you put it on your channel? I was like, sure. So I put the video up on my channel and I sent it to Sarnetta. They called me immediately. They called me immediately and was like, yo, what is this? I said, yo, this Brother Josh, whatever. They said, reach out to Josh and tell Josh that we want to talk to him. So I reached out to Josh, and Josh is like, I'm not talking to them guys. I don't give a damn about them guys. He said, all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep making videos, which he has more coming, and I'm going to debunk everything they ever said to an Israelite. I'm just going to debunk all this shit, but I don't want to talk to them. So I called Sarnetta and Jabari back, like, listen, he don't want to talk to you. Well, they was like, well, since he don't want to talk to you, we need to talk to you because you put it on your channel, and we've been trying to talk to you for years. So I'm like, no doubt. And so that's what.
Hold on, before we get there. Now, is Josh the brother that's behind the docu series?
Yeah, he had a video that he did about a year or two ago on the Amun-Ra Squad, which is also fire. He destroyed them on the whole evolution thing. He destroyed them. I didn't put that up on Maccabees, but when Josh did this particular video, he made sure to reach out to me and ask me could I put it on the channel because he know Jabari's a subscriber to Maccabees TV, so he wanted Jabari to see it. So he asked me could I put it up. I'm like, of course. I watched the video first. I'm like, this is fire. I put it out. I sent it to Sarnetta. Man, listen, them dudes called me within an hour. Both of them on the phone. Both of them on the phone. Like, yo, what is that? Reach out to the brother. Tell him that we want to talk to him. I reached out to Josh. He said, I don't want to talk to them. He said, you could talk to them. I don't want to talk to them. So I reached out back to Sarnetta and Jabari. I was like, he doesn't want to talk to y'all. So they was like, well, you put it on your channel. You got to talk to us. So I said, no problem. And so that's why y'all saw what y'all saw. That was a conversation that was supposed to happen for years. And we didn't even really, we didn't even really get into Jabari's book. And I don't know, like, I don't know if y'all could tell, like some people could tell, but I was really just kind of letting Jabari hang himself. Like I know D-Ray gonna get me in a minute. I could have went way harder, but I wanted him to talk. And if you sitting on his couch looking in his eyes the way I was, he knew that I knew exactly where he was coming from and I had an answer for everything he said. And he knew it. I could look in his eyes and tell he didn't expect that. So go ahead.
Now, the first, for those that haven't seen the video, man, y'all, is it on Mac yet?
No, I didn't put it on Mac, but it's on Black News 102. Black News 102, which is Sarnetta's channel. I'm going to respect him and allow him to put it out for like a week or two before I put it on my channel. So it's on Black News 102.
Okay, cool. So for those that haven't had a chance to watch it, what is the first thing that he tried to touch on within this discussion?
Well, the first thing he tried to touch on is which is better for Black people, which is a conversation I know you guys have had on this channel and many other channels have had. Is it to be an Israelite or is it Kemetic spirituality? Excuse me, which one is better for our people? So that was pretty much a stalemate. He gave all the reasons why he felt Kemetic spirituality was better for our people, and I gave the reasons for the Bible. So that's the way the conversation started out, which is only right. Everybody always, that's the go-to question everybody always asks. So yeah, that was the first thing.
All right, so
and I want to know what Kemetic spirituality is too, because that's not in no Kemetic text at all.
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
That's a made up mumbo jumbo. Kemetic spirituality.
What is that, man? Like, I mean,
it's a made up mumbo jumbo by mostly people that can't even read Kemetic text. They can't even read the Meta at all. They're reading from the English translations and coming up with some mumbo jumbo, you know what I'm saying, and calling it Kemetic spirituality. And even the bloodline people who are more related through bloodline, through DNA, let's talk about that for a second, just 1 second. The people that are more related through DNA to the ancient Cometians than the people over here in America today, even they don't practice Kemetic spirituality.
Yeah, so it's kind of because I've been seeing Zion Lex, man, stepping it up. Shout out to Zion Lex, man, and the Metanetta. Can Jabari read that?
His wife is his wife is fluent in the Medu Neter, so he says he is. He's never demonstrated it, but he says he is. And speaking of Zion Lex, just so y'all know, in case y'all don't know, and it did not come up inside of this conversation, I'm not. I'm a novice, but I do know some Medu Neter. As quiet
Uh-oh.
as kept, I do know some Medu Neter. I sat in some Medu Neter courses. I did, and I know more than the dudes that claim it. I don't know. I'm not saying I would don't put me on the spot like to try to teach nobody, but I know more than the people that claim it, and I don't claim it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, man. So
Hey,
if
King
you
Sam, if that's you, I didn't say I don't say I know more than you, but I know more than niggas that claim it. Not you, but I know more than niggas that claim it. Like I know what the determinant is. I see you, bro. I see you had to unmute yourself for that. I ain't talking about you. This ain't personal. But you
right.
have to be real. Just like you have a lot of Hebrews that don't speak Hebrew, right? Let's be real. You have a
What
lot of
I'm
Hebrews that don't speak Hebrew, right? So that doesn't make them any less Hebrews than the ones that do speak Hebrew, right? So I'm saying you have a lot of dudes that claim Kemet that don't know nothing about the language. That's not a shot at you or nobody else, but let's be real. I'm being real about my side on the Hebrew side. You got to be real about your side, bro.
what I'm I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Hold on, real quick. Give me 1 second. No, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, man. And you're right. You're right. People take things and they make up what they want. You see what I'm saying? Most people will deny that a people called Hebrews existed. I never, as y'all know, I never denied the fact that these people existed. I believe they was a real people, but all the chosen by God and that the miracle thing. Now the migration patterns, yeah, y'all African, yeah, had your own, yeah, cool. But all this magic and walking on water and beaming up the sky, no, I don't believe that part. But like you said, people will take things and make it their own. Now me, I believe I walk my eye. I know I'm from West Africa. I don't lie to myself. I don't sit
West,
there and
West,
and
West.
play nothing. I know I'm from West Africa, but I follow my art. Why I follow my art? Because I feel like it's the basis for every religion is universal law. Like I was telling the brother earlier, my art is just a commission name for universal law. They might have called it something different in South Africa, might have called it something different in West Africa. The Hebrews call it, y'all call it Leviticus in the book of the law, universal law. These are things that you do for your brother. I follow that. You see what I'm saying? I don't claim Kemet. I know I don't have no ancestors from there. My people come from West Africa, Mali, Timbuktu. You see what I'm saying? That's where my people from. But hey, I like Egypt. They were some players. Hey, they did they thing. They did some nasty things. They did some sick stuff like every other civilization. They had flaws. But was they fly? Yes, they were. They wearing gold. They looking like kings. They coming out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, play with. They got all these girls. They looking good. Feeding grapes on the boat. You know what I'm saying? Getting fanned by a big banana. That's fly. I like the. Hey, I got I bought a shirt from YirmeYah with fringes on it. I'm not no Hebrew, but I look flyer than you in fringes. That's just how I feel. I'm a rock the culture. You know what I'm saying? It's black culture. I feel like Hebrewism, or however you want to call it, y'all can put your religion in it or whatever. But I feel like it's black culture. You see what I'm saying? I'm not finna sit here and lie to you and say, oh, these people knew this was a way of life and they didn't worship this. They didn't worship these as deities. We'll be telling a bold faced lie. We know these people. Look what they did in their funeral practice. Those are man. We know these people worship them, but what did they do? Can we understand it deeper as the years go by due to information? Yes, we can. So we know what they was doing. Okay, well, this is something they attributed to a act of nature. All right. So they worshiped it because they didn't understand nature. But we don't because we understand nature. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna take over y'all show with
Let
that.
me
I'm gonna
let
let,
me
I'm
let
gonna
me
let y'all
ask
do
you
it.
something.
That
I
was
want to
good.
ask you something, King Seth. I want to ask you something, and this goes to you too, Priest Danyaahla.
Hey.
When when it comes to the idea of Pan Africanism, right? we know going back into antiquity, there was wars amongst these so-called African tribes, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, what is the difference between being a war captive, because they had war captives, right?
Yeah.
Egypt would war against Ethiopia, right? Ethiopia would war against Libya, and they would take war captives. If you are a war captive and you start to practice the ways of the people that have captured you, isn't that isn't that a huge flaw when it comes to your own cultural development? Because now you're taking practices, teaching them to your children that were not from your ancestors. How do you feel about that?
Who you want to answer first?
You. How do you feel about practicing? You basically practicing another people's culture, man. That's not your own.
No, I don't feel like that necessarily, because I feel like universal law is everybody's code. Then again, that's just the basis of just being a brother. Just when I see you, hey, bro, you come to my house, knock on my door. Hey, King Self, man, I'm hungry. Okay, bro, come in, man. I just finished making a big pot of spaghetti. Hey, I know you might not eat pork, but it got some sausage in there, man. You got to pick it out or whatever. You see what I'm saying? But if you hungry, bro, I'm gonna offer you some food. That's just and you can be the most Christian is Christian. You can be the most Hebrew is it. You can be the most Muslim is Muslim. Come with a bow tie and a bean pie. Hey, brother, you hungry? This is just universal law to me. I'm not saying this is what other people follow, but you're right. I don't feel like I'm practicing a culture that's not of mine. I feel like I'm practicing something that's universal between brothers. Now, other people, of course, Christians, that's not our culture. That's not us. You see what I'm saying? Now, one thing I do, I respect Hebrew Israelites for y'all dedication. I respect y'all for y'all diligence in what y'all do. Y'all actually follow the book. Even though I might not believe it, hey, I gotta respect you for walking the walk and talking the talk. I mean, I got to. You see what I'm saying? Y'all better than me than Christians who are practicing a Roman pantheon of different gods and don't know what they got going, just in misinterpreting the book and reading it how they want to. My mother what, 60 some years old. And she heard a debate with me and told me I know more than her. I'm 37 about the book. Never read the book from Genesis to Revelation. These are the people that took us to church. You see what I'm saying? These are the people that taught us things. So it's up to us as individuals.
Yeah. So, and I understand that, man. So, Priest Danyaahla, I want to ask you the same question, man. And why is it that they're not holding to their own ancestry and just trying to take, it's like they're taking a smorgasbord of culture and piling it all together to create something new.
Right. What I want to say about that is the brother King Seth is right. There are certain laws that are universal, right? Amongst all the nations that we all know that you can find amongst all the nations. Even if you go into Hammurabi's code, if you go into so-called Hammurabi's code, if you go into the laws of Ma'at, if you go into the laws of the Bible, there are certain universal laws that transcend all. But when it comes to Hebrew culture, our laws are a little bit more specific than some of the other nations as far as I've read, especially with something as simple as what he mentioned as far as the dietary law is concerned, right? There was a certain dietary law that we held to that differentiates us from other nations. We just don't eat everything. We don't eat pork. We don't eat shrimp. We don't eat lobster. We don't eat crab. We even see that our people that are in Islam, they may not eat pork, but they eat lobster, shrimp, and crab. So there are certain laws that separate us from other nations, and there's certain laws that are universal. So being a Hebrew Israelite, what separates us is that we know our laws are very specific to us when it comes to certain things, and we have to hold on to that. It's not so much universal for us as it may be for other people, because our laws seem to be, as far as my research has taken me, and I've studied a lot of other cultures, our laws seem to be a little bit more stringent, a little bit more strict than the other nation, which is what set us apart, according to the text, from the other nations, for the fact that our laws are more stringent. There's a lot more things that we're not able to do that the other nations or the other cultures They do, but there are also certain laws that are universal, like not killing somebody, so forth and so on. Of course, that's universal, right? Without a cause, that's universal. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Well, I want you to also touch on how they're taking different cultures from Kemet culture and the difference between the Kemet culture and the Ethiopian culture, as far as your study and your understanding. Uh, how much do you know any about any of the differences between an Egyptian and an Ethiopian as far as their cultural expression?
Is that for me or is that for Danielle?
Well, King, go ahead, go ahead, King Steph. You answer that, and I'll come
Oh
behind.
well, I'm gonna be short and quick. Well, we all know that everybody knows that when you speak of Egypt, I'm gonna say Egypt right now. That's just for what everybody knows. They always say it's the daughter of Ethiopia, Sudan, and Nubia. You see what I'm saying? So this is a culture that did like any civilization. Due to famine, drought, these people moved. They was right along the Nile. They followed right along the Nile. And every year in that specific spot in Egypt, it flooded and it fertilized the area. So it was like a big oasis in the middle of the desert. So these people brought their culture with them from these places and did it there. That's why they're so similar. There are 250 pyramids in the Sudan, small ones. You see what I'm saying? Tekens and everything. Y'all call them obelisks. You see what I'm saying? They did the same burial things that they did. Found older places, older, same layout, same architecture as in Egypt. They just did it on a bigger scale because they had more time. Nobody was messing with them. Nobody was messing with them for how many years? I mean, 5,000 years. People ain't mess with these people. You see what I'm saying? No wars or nothing like that. Maybe between feuds in between themselves, but it's a similar culture. That's why the people are like that. That river, it flows north. It don't flow south. So where would they go? Straight from Ethiopia and just bam, and just go straight up the river. Same thing with the Native Americans. Every civilization is gonna be found by a body of water. Every last one of them. Not you.
Right. So, the brother's 100% right. The Cushitic, or what you call the Cushite culture, along with other cultures, eventually birthed what you call, I want to call the Old Kingdom, or the first Egyptian civilization, which you call the Old Kingdom. Those cultures prior to that, along with Sumer, birthed what you call ancient Kemetic culture. So you're going to find a lot of similarities between those ancient cultures and the early Egyptians, as opposed to the later Egyptians. When you come like to the New Kingdom, you'll see a lot of differences as opposed to the Old Kingdom. So you'll find a lot of similarities amongst these nations. But as I mentioned, us as Hebrews, us as Israelites, our culture differs a lot from them as well. There are some similarities. When you go into the laws of our laws, especially Exodus and Leviticus and the book of Numbers, specifically those three books, you'll find a lot of differences between us and them. That's why when you read the book of Deuteronomy, when the Most High brought us out of Egypt, he told us that we should not do after the doings of the Egypt, nor should we do after the doings of the people that were in the land of Canaan that we was going to go to, because our culture that was given to us was different than both. You will find similarities or what they call parallels, right? And I want to say something real quick. I don't want to really be too long-winded in any of my answers, right? There is a difference between parallels and plagiarism. And one of the things I see in the conscious community, and hopefully brothers on this panel are way more educated than what I see on the other channels that call themselves the conscious community. There are differences between parallels and plagiarism, right? Parallels and us actually stealing our culture from other nations, right? So you will see parallels. You will see certain things that are universal across all the cultures, whether it be Kush, whether it be Nubia, whether it be ancient Kemet, whether it be Sumer, whether it be Israel. There's certain parallels that go across the board. But then there's certain things that make us as Israelites unique from these other nations in our laws. And there's one of the things that we've been talking about, the dietary law is one of those things. It's not the only thing, but it's definitely one of those things that's very readily able to be shown as something that differentiates us from these other nations that surround us.
Yeah, man. I mean, Well, one thing about what King Seth said is that Kemet comes out of Ethiopia, or the Kushites, the ancient Kushites, which actually follows the biblical narrative, right?
That's
So,
right.
I mean, these things are lining up. And I was wondering, when
Can I say
yeah, go ahead.
something, Uriah, if you don't mind? That follows the biblical narrative, because what was the first kingdom that rose up after the Tower of Babel? It was Nimrod.
See, there y'all go. See, there y'all go.
Okay, but
There y'all go.
see, but you know
I'm
what?
gonna let you rock.
Wait, King Steph, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go, King. I'm not trying to push the biblical narrative off on you, whether you believe it or not, but it does agree with what you said and YirmeYah said. It does. Right. I'll leave it there. I'll let you go. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, you're right. You're right. I mean, I can't. According to the biblical narrative, like you said with the plagiarism, I don't believe that it was according to the narrative. It wasn't a plagiarism. I believe that what Moses did was, according to the narrative, what he did was he grew up in Egypt 80 years. I'm not gonna say he stole it. What I'm gonna say he did was he found a way to try to improve it, because he took something there, he took something there, and you know what I'm saying. So it's for, that's just from my logical mind frame and not from a believer's mind frame. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, as for me, that's what I would say. If I'm reading the book as a non-believer, just as a novel, I'm like, yeah, you know, yeah, he took some of that and did that and improved on it. They was over here eating pork, getting fat, and doing disrespectful things. So you know what? He took the laws that he grew up around and improved it and tried to make a better people out of this mixed multitude that came out of Egypt.
I'm agree with you, King Seth. Watch this, okay. Right? The ancient Paleo Hebrew script, a lot of that stuff, because remember the Hebrews were in Egypt all that time. A lot of the ancient Paleo Hebrew script, they was looking at what the Egyptians were doing on the wall, and a lot of that follows the same pattern. Now, listen carefully, because Sanet and them get lost on this. I know you a smart brother, you're not going to get lost. I'm not saying the Hebrew language comes from Kemet, but I'm saying that the script, the way that you guys had the script of the Medu Neter, and how all those hieroglyphs, a lot of what you call the pictograph, we call them pictographs, it's really the same thing. We follow the same pattern that we saw the Egyptians do on the walls, and we have what's called pictograph. We had the same shit. So I'm agreeing with you on that.
Furthermore, so you say y'all created y'all own language out of another
language? We already had a language. We already speaking Hebrew.
Y'all just
it wasn't a written language because we was amongst y'all, right?
Y'all just improved it.
It was improved upon when we left out. In addition, the blueprint for the Ark of the Covenant, some of that stuff that they got, they saw that stuff in Kemet as well, as amongst other things. We don't deny these things. You ask me, you ask Divine Prospect.
I see all of the Ark of the Covenant, you lost me with that. Now we was good with the other stuff. Now you know, see all this magical
blueprint,
you know, all this magical box stuff. Now you was on point. You was on point with the stuff.
What I'm saying is nothing magical about the Ark of the Covenant. It's just an ark that they built. You know what I mean? Carry some stone. Go ahead.
But see, that's logic. See, that's logic. I can agree with you with that, and see, that's evidence that y'all can bring that people can't deny. I don't mean you can't deny Hebrew. I mean archaeology. You can't deny the script. You can't deny that. So, what's the best thing to do is think about this logically. There was an African people that had their own swag.
Right. So what I'm saying to you is, like, I didn't say whether you believe in the Ark of the Covenant or not. If you look at the way it looks, I'm talking about the blueprint, the way they built it. Is very similar to stuff that the Egyptians had. Furthermore, right, how we know is that, remember the whole thing about when you remember Moses' father-in-law Jethro, right? That whole thing about the ranking system, you know what I'm saying, where you have captains, officers, so forth and so on. It was Jethro that was from the priest of Midian that gave Moses the idea to set up the whole thing within Israel. So we don't deny, if you deal with scholastics, forget about emotions. If you deal with scholastics, we know that there were certain things that we were amongst these other nations that we saw that they did, and we took amongst ourselves and we improved and made it better.
Influence, not plagiarism. Influence.
Okay. Right. Yes, because and nations were also, when you read about Egypt was influenced by the nations that came in too. Let's be real. We could go into that.
I ain't denying it. I ain't gonna deny it.
Okay, there you go. So nations influence other nations. That's why I say that there's plagiarism parallels, when you can find parallels between one society and another. doesn't, and I know you already know this, King Seth, so I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking to maybe somebody that's listening. Parallels don't indicate plagiarism because parallels go both ways. You will see some things that the Hebrews saw amongst the Egyptians, like, you know what, we're going to use that. We're gonna use that and improve that. And you'll see some things amongst the Egyptians that they saw amongst the foreigners that was amongst them, and they took and said, we're going to use that. So there's no problem there.
But you see that in the Egyptians' use of mummification. Some of the oldest mummification you'll find it in Libya among the Meshwesh. You see what I'm saying? And it wasn't, you don't find it. So yeah, I mean, everybody borrows stuff from other people. You know what I mean? That's what the
YirmeYah,
culturation is about.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let this go. Hey, Danyaahla, this what me and Yashar, we came to agreement on. I told him, I say, man, look, you know, I don't like my brother saying that they don't like Hamites, and I don't like the Hamites saying they don't like the black people. So I say, look, man, what if I tell you I get down with the Pharaoh that was rocking with Joseph, and I don't like the Pharaoh that came after Joseph after he died. How about that? So you know what I'm saying? I think he was a mark in the dark, riding the skylark in the park. You see what I'm saying? I don't like him. You see, hey, I don't, you know, he like Donald Trump. I vote against him if that was just me, you know,
Good
that
stuff.
type of stuff. And he was like, yeah, I'm
already,
rocking with that. I'm like, I'm rocking with that. So that's
but
why I'm at.
you
And I'm
already
gonna let that
know.
ride.
You already know what our response is. Negro, you're not a Hamite, brother. You're not.
Man, say, man, I'm a big man dinking warrior, man. Man, dingo, boy. You know what I'm saying? You playing, man.
That's
You know
cool,
what I'm
though. Nah, it's cool. Hey, so let me ask this, and D-Red, I want you to chime in on this. Also, man, shout out to the Source Debate League champion in the building, man, Josh Dude, right? And our brother James Cassell in the building, and Pro Rizzo 1. Shout out to the SUC, man.
Pro Rizzo
So
1.
I want to try to ask and wonder, do you come across this too, Priest Danyaahla? What is the apprehension about the connection between the ancient Babylonians and the ancient Cushites? Why is it that they stop in Egypt and don't go back to an older civilization, or why they don't believe that the Babylonian civilization is older? What's the deal with that argument, man?
So let's some of the new brothers that came in, like Chashub and other brothers talking, and I'll come in after.
Yeah, Joshua, do you connect the ancient Cushites with the ancient Babylonians?
Yeah, for the most part, I do. If we follow the biblical narrative, then those people would have to been in those areas, in those lands. As far as that, but was they a monolith? I don't think there was a monolith because you had the was it the Assyrians, the Neo-Assyrians during that time too, around the area. But yeah,
The Acadians and all that.
Yeah, the Acadians, and not the Acadians. So yeah, they was there during that time period. They had to be. You know what I'm saying?
Which civilization would you say is older though?
Man, everything come from the Near East, man. Kind of cool. You already know my answer to that.
But man, I want you brothers to touch on that, man, because that actually lines up biblically once we start to look at it, man. And do you have any examples of any influences that we can see in the ancient Cushites that was borrowed from the ancient Babylonians?
That was borrowed by the ancient Babylonians?
Yeah.
The Cushites is the Babylonians, the ancient Babylonians.
Right. What I was saying is, as far as culture, some of the pyramids or some of the cultural expressions that we can see the parallels in that these things stem from.
I'm gonna make it real simple. I'm gonna strip all the identities off of it. Wherever you get agriculture at, wherever agriculture started, that's where civilization started. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're able to create crops, when you're able to introduce to the world pastoralism, sort of hunter-gatherer mentality where you have to chase your food. That's when you're able to start building these large stone structures. That's when you're able to have improvements in science. That's when you're able to basically lay down the foundations for civilization, be able to create the technology needed for writing. That starts with agriculture. So wherever agriculture starts, that's where civilization starts. And all the evidence for agriculture starting is in the ancient Near East. It's not in Egypt. It's not in West Africa. It's in the ancient Near East. That's where it started. So that's the ultimate evidence, you know what I'm saying, from my point of view. Agriculture. The Neolithic Revolution happened and took place in Mesopotamia in the Near East, not in Africa. Sorry to poop on everybody's African party, but that's just the facts, man. We had Chris Harris on here. I told him the same thing. He's like, well, those people are still African. Okay, Chris Harris, I give you that. Let's say they were African. Where did it start? In the ancient Near East. And that's it on that, man. I yield the floor. I'll let somebody else chime in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these are definitely topics, man, because it was always confusing to me, man. Like, why do brothers just stop in Egypt? Why do brothers magnify Egypt so much when you have an older civilization and a great and illustrious civilization such as Babylon, seeing that these people were their ancestors?
Because they've been taught. I'm sorry, brother. I just gotta say that they've been taught. They've been taught to worship a continent. So the continent is more important than the people. I care more about the people, not the damn continent.
And then I think a lot, and I think to chime in on that.
Can I chime in on that?
Hold on, brother. Can I was
Besides
just
the
talking,
Hebrew
brother.
on this smug.
Can you hold on? I was just talking.
Go ahead,
What I'm saying is they don't do a lot of research outside of that continent. So what happens is they don't know nothing about the Harappan script. They don't know nothing about the Harappan civilization. They don't know about other civilizations that were parallel, that were doing great things on their own. You see what I'm saying? And so they don't do a lot of research outside of that paradigm. So they don't know nothing about other civilization, what other civilization was doing, what they were bringing to the table as far as advancing humanity as a whole. So they don't, like I said, if you ask them about the Harappan script, where the Harappan script is technically the oldest undeciphered script that we have right now. You see what I'm saying? They still trying to work it out and figure out how to decipher it. But it's like 5,000, 6,000 years old.
Where was that found at?
I think it's found in like Iran, somewhere Afghanistan, somewhere way over there, in the Indus Valley, where the Indus Valley civilization started happening. Okay. So you got to look at everything. It's like people say that they're historians, but they'll just be stuck in one place when you got to understand the movement of people. And like Yashar just said, when you get to talking about people, you got to start looking. When you talk about history, you got to talk about people, not places so much. It's about the people. Okay, what were these people doing? Okay, where did these people come from? You know what I'm saying? How did these people migrate? Where did these people go to? You know what I'm saying? So those are the questions that we got to ask as people that's trying to study this history and work out this puzzle of who came first, who came in, because it's considered. I think it's like 5 or 6 so-called pristine civilizations. You got Egypt, Sumer, the Indus Valley. You got the Northern Chica civilization in South America, and you got civilization that popped up in China. All these places, civilizations supposed to spring up independently in all these places. How? So if we got these pristine civilizations, if you call yourself a historian, you got to study each of these civilizations and try to see what each of these civilizations brought to the table, not just be stuck in one spot. And that's what ends up happening. We get stuck in one spot because we're trying to prove the relevance of the school of thought that we want to subscribe to, instead of just being a student of history and if what you're saying is correct, it'll either confirm what you believe, or you just got to change your damn paradigm. But people don't want to change, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people paradigms is rigid, and so anything that you study that makes you have to look at yourself, you know what I'm saying? People don't really want to do it.
Yeah, man, because I know we touched on this earlier too. Early in the day, in the back chat, we were talking about the confusion with some of the appearance of the ancient Babylonians. We got some brothers that are teaching that the Babylonians are European in appearance.
Hey, can I say something about the last question that came about with the about what he said about the influence?
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
I think that D-Red is correct. A lot of people don't read, but mostly what I do and how I came to my understanding is due to a lot of comparative study, a lot of observation, a lot of the scientific method was applied to get to the conclusion that I came to and the reason why I am. So I'm not taking nobody's opinion, but there are people that are influenced because, like you say, man, black people, man, we are vulnerable with our spirituality. You see, so a lot of black people just gonna flock to what they believe without actually digging. And if you do tell them that and to look at it as a student of history, they're not gonna do that, D-Red. Because
Isn't it brothers that teach that the Egyptian civilization is the oldest civilization?
yeah, I believe so. But I mean, if they come on, man. I mean, no, man. Like I mean,
because Kush,
like I just said,
right.
Ethiopia is. I mean, Egypt is the daughter of Ethiopia.
Right.
How can it? You know what I'm saying? How and according to what I'm saying, I'm gonna say according to the narrative of the Africanization, shit. Hey, East Africa is where civilization started, and they might started migrating out. And according to patterns, according to human nature, humans are gonna formulate around bodies of water. But like Yashar said, he said agriculture, right? So my thing is, I'm like, what about these people that was in the jungle? You see what I'm saying? They had civilizations in the jungle that people ain't dug enough. They got people in Africa that live in trees. Right now, to this day, that you know what I'm saying, that they did a documentary around. They live in trees. They build tree houses. Middle of the Congo. You see what I'm saying? They harvest fruit out of trees.
I just want you brothers to take a look at this, man. This is the stuff that I'm talking about, right? Like, there is no Babylon. Like, that just don't make no damn sense, Blue.
Like, me, brother, there's no Babylon.
I don't know what this brother mean by that, but I'm saying
there is no him.
Stuff,
he a magical Blue. The boy Blue is a magical brother. He don't deal with history because everybody know Babylonia is an actual place that existed 4,000 years ago. We got archaeology attesting to that, man. So I don't know what this dude talking about.
And watch this, YirmeYah. Now you see, I bought a shirt from you with fringes. You see, I got my pharaoh hat. Hey, if anybody making something with some African Babylonian Kushite stuff on it, hey, I'm in it. I'm on it. Hey, send me a number, hit me in the message. I'm buying it. I'm buying all that. I need it. You know what I'm saying? I need some of that stuff. I represent it, bro. I represent the whole Africa. You see what I'm saying? But I know I'm from West Africa, from that Timbuktu. You know what I'm talking about? From that Massa line. You know what I'm talking about? That's the line I'm from.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But
support y'all.
I do. But let me give me some guilt. I need you every time I tell you to put, look, watch this. Every time I tell you to put something on, you tell me it's idol worship. I ain't doing it. I'm in Hebrew. It's idol worship. That's every time you say something. So what you want me to do?
Right. So listen, I want to get back to Priest Danyaahla. I want to touch on the next few points that stood out to you, Priest Danyaahla, in y'all discussion. That either rubbed you the wrong way, because they have a certain narrative that they're pushing over there, right? And so I want you to just kind of speak on what are the next few things that that you felt was completely wrong with some of his stances in y'all discussion. Danyaahla, are you there?
Well, Jabari is inherently wrong. I'm just gonna say that. I didn't get a chance to watch it this weekend. I've been working like a madman, but I just know like the stances Jabari have are so far left that I could just tell that it didn't go. You know what I'm saying? It was probably a lot of pseudoisms in his speech. You know what I'm saying? This is the same man that is looking at the pseudo book Jesus Wars as proof against the Bible and as proof against Jesus' existence. This is the same man that heralded the Maxims of Ptah Hotep, throwing it in our face. Oh, this is the oldest book, and we should go buy this book. And when I had a chance to talk to him, I read from the book. I said, wait a minute, you against patriarchy, right? You against men ruling over their women, but this book right here tells you to not give any power to your woman and rule over her. That's what that book says in the Maxims of Ptah Hotep. So just judging off this brother's track record, I can tell that he has some pseudoisms going on. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We probably lost our brother Danyaahla. Maybe he lost connection. But yeah, man, Jabari, he's a super pseudo. They pretty much needed to replace their old pseudo. See, they had an old pseudo over there. That was polite. That was their old pseudo. Now they got the new pseudo, Jabari. You know what I'm saying?
So the brother Blue mentioned that there is no Babylon, if I'm not correct, right? Well,
Yep.
This is the thing, right? The fact that you're merely saying that there's no Babylon, which is confusion, proves that there is a Babylon. So look, let's just look at the word for example, right? If you look at the as they call it Semitic word, it stands for Babel, or as they will say, Bavel, right? But we know we don't have a V in our language, so we're not even gonna go there. But anyway, Babel, right? It would just be we would call it Babel because we would understand that it's a place of confusion. So that will be what we will call that particular area, that particular landmass, and even those particular people that we were interacting with and was dealing with. We didn't have to give them a meaningful name because they wasn't doing nothing meaningful. Blue, okay. So if you want us to get off into their actual title and who these people are according to their forefather, how about you jump on and you help us out? We don't know what we're talking about.
That's right.
It's not the time for that. This is really it's supposed to be us on Danyaahla and
Yeah, he
beating
not
up
here right now.
Jabari.
I'm
You know
just
what I'm
trying to
saying?
save some time.
And us beating up Jabari.
Yeah. I need the cliff. Hey, somebody got to give me the cliff notes of what was discussed and talked about.
Basically, Jabari was just doing the whole the Bible's full of patriarchy, and the Bible hates women, and that whole spiel. You know what
Wait
I'm
a
saying?
minute.
That's basically
He's still doing that. He's still doing that. What
he's still doing it.
Ancient Egypt is androcentric. It's primarily ran by men. You have a few exceptions. Ancient Egypt is a patriarchy. The hell wrong with people,
Yep.
man?
Hey,
Y'all remix history.
Until we get Priest Danyaahla back, once you pull up the clip and we'll watch a few minutes and we'll kind of dive up into. If you can, Joshua, if you can't, I'll try, man. Sometimes I don't be getting my audio with the YouTube.
You talking about his discussion with Jabari?
Yeah, just a little bit of it.
It was on Sonnet, man. He better not strike us, man.
You think he will?
I don't know. We're gonna keep pausing it. We're gonna keep pausing it.
Yeah.
Let me do it. We got hit earlier.
And then we gotta pull up the maximum of Ptah Hotep so the people can see it. There's one thing for us to say it. We gotta
Hey,
folks
can y'all
gotta
hear me?
see it. Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
I got the PDF on my other computer, so if you can find it real quick and send it to that group on Facebook, I'll open it up.
All right,
I
I'm
don't,
on.
ha-
Let me see if I
I
can
don't
find
have it on my laptop. Well, it was Sinetta TV or not? What is this? Studios, right?
I'll send it to you. I'll send it directly to you.
Yeah, here it is. I see it right here. Powerful discussion with Jabari and Danyaahla. Are the Hebrew Israelites in Africa? That one?
Yeah.
Is this the whole thing? This only 27 minutes.
No, I'll send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you right now.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
Yeah.
can
it.
hear you.
Yeah,
All right, cool. Before y'all do that, I just wanted to comment on what YirmeYah was saying about them not giving credence to the Near East pretty much for starting civilization. I think it deals a lot with the romanticization of, you know what I'm saying, Africa and stuff, dealing in the 60s, when the the white folks was having a Egyptomania thing. They was claiming Egypt as their own. And you know what I'm saying? A bunch of black scholars came out fighting against that, fighting showing that Egypt was ruled by dark-skinned people. And I think from that point on, our people kind of romanticized that a bit, and leaned towards that way as a way to get out of what they saw as a tool used to oppress them in the Bible. They found somewhere they can go that was connected to a continent. And I agree with Yashub too. They become religiously connected to that continent, man, because the people, my bloodline matters to me more than any speck of dust
Right.
does matter. But for some reason, they romanticize this whole country, whole continent being united type thing. Like we can just claim Egypt, like that's our bloodline or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But the evidence in the archaeological record is too clear on civilization not only starting in the Near East, but Near Eastern folks clearly coming into Egypt, starting things like, for instance, Fayum A. Is this the first time you see anybody doing any type of pastoralism or semi-agriculturalist things going on? But all of the skeletal records and stuff show that they're related to the people of the Near East, so they was doing that. Naphtha Playa, same thing. They buried their people the exact same way the Natufians buried their peoples, and they was actually slaughtered by indigenous Nile Valley Africans and pushed up out of that land. They didn't come back in that land for thousands of years after that. And Egypt went through a dark age because of it. Well, we ain't really got nothing. You got small things, but nothing major in the archaeological record. While in the Near East, you got them building ziggurats. You got them building all types of stuff. And then, I mean, if you want to talk about the oldest um masonry or any work with, what I'm saying, stone or anything like that, you talking about Gobekli Tepe in the northern Levant. You know what I'm saying? Then you see that coming into the Sumeria. Sumeria was highly influenced by Kushites. You know what I'm saying? I'm of the approach that the Akkadian culture is actually Kushites because I associate Nimrod with Enmerkar, who brought writing into fruition and all things like that, and was associated with the Tower of Babel. And he had a war with the Lord of Arata, which is Ararat, if anybody knows that. So I think that because they won't give credence to the people, they end up not giving respect to Suma as it's due. You know what I'm saying? The last, I say, marker of civilization that needed to come along for either side in Northeast Africa and Egypt or in the Levant, I mean not or in the Near East, was writing. And Sumer came into writing a couple hundred years before Egypt. And if you look at their writing, like from the Kish tablet, it looks a lot like Old Kingdom Metal Netta with a couple switches and characters. And there was even some scholars who even said this, that it looks like it was heavily influenced. The difference in the character seems to be certain geographical formations and the animals themselves. That seemed to be the only difference in the writings. So I mean, and the influence is clearly coming there, doing like the El Badari culture. What's the name of that culture, man? It's right on the tip of my tongue, man. Nakata 2 period. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. The Nakata 2 period. A lot of those periods, you see a heavy influence because you start seeing pottery. Pottery began in the Near East, not in Egypt. So you start seeing the influence of pottery coming in and stuff like that. I mean, the Near East, you know what I'm saying, started a lot of stuff that comes into fruition in Egypt. But I will give Egypt this. I believe Egypt took it at one point in time, like especially Old Kingdom to probably Middle Kingdom, took it to some of its greatest heights. Some of the things that were discovered in the Near East.
Yeah, I mean, cause that's what when you had the separation before Norma came in that united uh the upper and lower kingdom. The basically the lower kingdom, which was upper northern Egypt, was it was pretty much all Semitic. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's pretty much was the dividing line. You had basically uh, to a certain degree two different groups, and when you get closer to the middle aspect of that's when you see more of an acculturation type process where the two groups was actually sharing. You can actually see when you look at the some of the excavations, you see basically it's like the sharing of ideas type situation going on. So uh,
Like what
Now
you
you're
talking
right, because
red.
you know the Asiatics always had the quote unquote lower Egypt up towards
mhm.
the delta and stuff, because the Egyptians weren't really too concerned with farming and pastoralism and things like that. They were native hunters and gatherers, and they were more concerned with war and ruling.
Right. And then think about this too, right? Like this is why you see all up north, right? When you talk about the Levant, you know what I mean, Mesopotamia. This is how they ruled all of that with no problems from Assyria. You know what I'm saying? Because if you know and you understand, like you said, the lower Egypt was ruled by what we would call Shemetics. So when you understand that, the scriptures even tell us that in Isaiah about the Assyrians in rule. So that's just telling me, and I talked to you about that too before, James, but we understand that different. But the way I see it is like when they came in, those so-called Hyksos, aka Assyrians, those were the ones that was in rule until after we exodus up out of the land, and then here come what we would call Upper Egypt, taking back the land from those so-called Assyrians, so-called Shemetics that was in rule. You feel what I'm saying? Which I think would be somewhere around the 18th, 19th dynasty, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. It's just for me, man, it's a rejection of history. You know, it's like the brother said earlier, romanticizing Egypt, you know, falling in love with this particular continent, creating such theories as the out of Africa theory, meaning everything came out of Africa, right? And
What's
once we
wrong with
look,
that? What's wrong with that?
It's
Oh
false.
man,
That's what's
it's,
wrong with it.
it's it's a lot wrong with that, especially when you understand the time period
Why you
that
can't have a
people push.
love for your people?
Listen,
That's
if you listen,
And where
we
you
can tell
from?
you. If you listen, if you listen, you can find out. First of all, you got to look at the time period, right? And when you look at the time period that it was convention, Darwin is on record as saying evolution would not work without an incremental species, right?
I don't care what
You
dog said.
listen. If you listen, bro, you got to understand what he said. What he said was falling in love with stuff like the out of Africa theory. What did it create? So then you got people when you read Dr. Bean's book, Black Men of the Nile and His Family, he tries to use Deknesh or Lucy as an ancestor, right? Lucy was, according to Charles Oxner, was a pure ape. Who was he was the head? He was the head. What you call it? What you call it? I can't think of. I can't
Paleontologist.
think. Yeah, he was the head paleontologist at the time. You see what I'm saying? Oxford University. He said he's a pure ape, but yet you had black people trying to tout this fine. Black people trying to tout this fine, not understanding that you become when you read Nietzsche's concept of the Superman, the white man is the pinnacle of evolutionary step. So when you make yourself the closest to ape,
You're the lowest evolved.
you're the lowest evolved. So using that concept, you're basically devaluing your own self without even understanding what you're doing. So that's the problem with the out of Africa theory, and that's the problem with what these guys promote. They promote inferiority and not even understanding it, because again, they don't read. I said I use this line all the time. When the brother Irritated Genie said, "Niggas don't know what slavery was. Niggas don't read, so niggas don't know what slavery was. Since they don't know what slavery was, how do they know when it's over?" These niggas don't read and study nothing. They're not studying Nietzsche and the concept of the Superman. They're not reading how these writings and all these things start paralleling, and these people that push this evolutionary concept on us. We're reading these other people's work. See, they act like these people, these things pop up in a vacuum. And I understand that these things take time to gain momentum. So by the time Huxley came and started pushing it and became what they call Darwin's bulldog, these people were already familiar with these other people's works and concepts. You know what I'm saying? So they all piggyback off one another. So you end up devaluing your own self by trying to promote something, thinking that you're making yourself seem great.
Yeah, and then they based it off of the specimens they found in Africa, and many of those specimens they find in Africa are Australopithecus apes.
Listen here, man. This what I'm
Not
gonna tell
human.
y'all. This what I'm gonna tell y'all, and I hope this get across the globe on the Source Debate League, man. I don't care what Darwin said. I don't care what nobody said. This is what King Self conclusion came to. That black people, we from Africa, we invented everything, we did everything. Nobody gonna tell me nothing less. Because you know why? The Chinese gonna say they did. The white man gonna say they did. The Arab gonna say they did. Everybody else gonna say they did. But we actually got science and we actually got archaeology. We actually got proof to say that we did this. So I'm gonna take pride in the continent where I believe that we came from. I'm gonna take pride in the continent that has almost everything known to man as a resource on it. Because these people have brainwashed us to think less of each other and where we from. So I'm gonna take pride in every civilization that was in Africa, from north, south, east, west. I'm gonna take pride in our literature, old, young, middle-aged, new.
It's romanticization.
And I'm
Okay,
gonna
but
love
King
it to
Seth, let
death.
me ask you a question.
I'm
King
gonna
Seth, let
love
me
it
ask
to
you a
death.
question. King Seth, let me ask you a question real quick, right?
Go ahead.
What he's saying, well, that's all good, but I've been out for a minute, but I heard brothers talking about evolution. Do you subscribe to this whole evolutionary theory that's within the conscious community? Like, are you down with that? That's what I
I
think.
don't say
That's what brothers were talking about before
I
you
don't
came on.
believe I don't believe man came from apes. No, I do not.
Well, no, but that's not what they teach either. They teach that we have a common ancestor. Like we branched off one way, and they branched off another way. So, do you subscribe to that?
I never, to tell you the truth, I've never spoke on that because I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not gonna speak on something that I can't even, my brain can't even articulate the possibilities of us nigga evolving or coming being able to even speak if we come from an ape or whatever. You know, I'm not even gonna speak on that until some type of evidence, for sure evidence, come about and it's proven. You know, now we can only just go on theories and hypotheses. Now that's what we do. That's what we use as evidence. But at the end of the day, they still hypotheses and theories.
Yeah,
But see,
so
that's the beautiful thing about science. Science changes. Science has that room, that give or take. That it's a possibility this can happen, but more tests need to be done to see why. It's not an absolute versus the Bible.
At this, but at this particular point, though, I think at this particular point, again, it ain't really about that. At this particular point, Australopithecines are damn apes. They ain't ancestors. You know what I'm saying? And folks need to stop saying that stupid shit. You see what I'm saying? And they need to go read Nietzsche and read Nietzsche's concept, and you will understand where it come from. You understand the mentality behind why these people were doing and pushing what they were pushing. It had nothing to do with making you look good. It was to make you look like, well, shit, you closer to a gorilla. You see what I'm saying? Because around the time of evolution, that's when they start calling your ass a damn monkey. They start calling you a damn ape and a gorilla and all that shit. That's all that shit corresponds at
Right,
that time.
right. And then
So go ahead.
I was just gonna give him a rundown on why it relates to the out of Africa theory. Because they say that we were apes living in the forest areas of Africa, and then we lost our hair in Africa because of the heat, and then we slowly became Homo sapiens sapien, and then left Africa as fully what do you call it, anatomically modern humans, right? And then we left Africa. That's what the out of Africa theory is. So it's directly tied to evolution. You can't separate one from the other. It's married to each other. You can't really divorce those ideas. So if you take one concept, you got to look at all of it. And the other part of it is evolving from apes or sharing a common ancestor with apes, which those apes share a common ancestor with rodents. Because all placental mammals, according to secular scientists, come from rodents. So there's zero evidence for that. This is basically speculation, a lot of speculation and hypothesis, as you said. There is no concrete evidence that points to humans coming from apes. And that's the strongest thing they have for the out of Africa model. And that's the one thing that brothers are showing you that's hurting that model, is because there's a lot of fabrication involved in it and a lot of pseudoscience involved in it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, D-Ray. I just want to, chime in on that.
No, that's perfect. I be wanting people to understand that. Go read The Descent of Man, and don't let nobody tell you that he don't talk about humans in that book, because in the preface of the book, he tell you what the book is about. You know what I'm saying? To show you the difference between the different species. That's what the book was about. So go read the dang on book. You know what I'm saying? And he'll tell you in the book that it's a separation between the Australoid and all of those. He tell you that in the book. You know what I'm saying? So go check that book out, and you'll see where Darwin was coming from and how Darwinism don't, you know what I mean, and that whole out of Africa theory. Go read Nietzsche and Nietzsche's concept of the Uberman, Uberman. That's where we get the concept of Superman from.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as your brothers are talking, we got to talk about this very touchy subject in the conscious community, and it's really in the conscious community because we already know about it as Israelites. This whole thing about mutations, right? So we know that in order for evolution to take place, there has to be something called point mutations, right? Millions of them. I don't give a damn. Like they say that there's only like a 1%, 2%, 5% difference between man and common ancestor, like modern man and common ancestor is like a 1%, 2%, 5% difference. That's millions and millions and millions and millions of mutations on a DNA level, like on a really low level. Now, we know mutations are mostly harmful. So they got to show me how it is that you have all these beneficial mutations. I'm talking about millions of them that will bring you from man to ape. That's not even recorded in science. It's some pseudoscience BS that these dudes done made up. You can't show it nowhere in science whatsoever. Once you have a couple of hundred mutations, a couple of them are harmful already. Nevertheless, millions to go between man and ape. We're talking about maybe at 1 or 2% difference between man and ape. Because what they do is they do comparative anatomy, right? They see certain anatomy between man and between ape, and they say, oh, see, we're similar. Man evolved from ape. Look at the similar anatomy. No, let's look at the differences and how many mutations between man and ape would have to take place for there to be a so-called evolution. And when you do that and you understand mutations, it's impossible. It's impossible. That's why all that stuff that dudes is talking about is BS whatsoever.
Yeah. To back you up on that, too many mutations will cause what they call error catastrophe. And once you go to error catastrophe, that's the end of your organism. It can't reproduce anymore.
100%.
It pretty much die out.
100%. 100%. All right, YirmeYah. What's the next question, bro? Keep it going.
Yeah, man. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I was trying to transition earlier into a few other points of contention that was going on in that particular discussion about our existence in Africa and whether or not the people whether or not they have their own autonomy and authority to identify themselves. The brothers told you that they cannot. They're deceived by Catholicism. So I wanted to know what was your thoughts on that and our presence in West Africa.
Well, let me start off real quick because I'm gonna be quick, right? This is the conversation that me and Jabari had, right? I asked Jabari about his methodology. See, I was very careful when I was talking to him. I asked him about his methodology, proving that we come from the ancient Cometians, and the ancient Cometian people say, the ancient West Africans say that they come from Kemet and all that stuff. I said, what proof do they use? The very same methodology. I'm just gonna make it simple. The very same methodology that the author of Hebrews to Negroes used. I'm talking about comparing foods in West Africa to foods in Jamaica, comparing language to language, comparing this to that. The same methodology is the same methodology he's using. So then you cannot disqualify the Hebrews in the West Africa book. You cannot disqualify it because you're using the same methodology. So with that being said, the methodology we use language, right? We use customs, we use culture, we use all these different things as well as oral tradition to show that the people of West Africa are Israelites. Because I asked Jabari, one of the things he was using to say that the people of West Africa were Kemetic, he was saying that you have people in West Africa that are saying that they come from ancient Kemet. And I said, I can pull up a video for you right now. This is the part Sanetta did not have up on the channel. I said, I can pull up videos for you right now. West Africans saying they have oral traditions that say that they come from Israel. And he dismissed it. I said, brother, you can't do that. You cannot do that. It's the same methodology. You got to take your confirmation bias out the equation, and we got to deal with scholarship. If they're using the same methodology you're using, you cannot disqualify these people from being Hebrews if you're using the same methodology. We have language. We have cognates between names of some of the names that were in West Africa to some of the names that were in ancient Israel, just like you have over here in the New World. You have dietary cognates between the people out in West Africa and the people over here in America and the people in Israel, right? You have oral tradition. I can go on and on and on. You have the same methodology, and that's what we use to prove that we are the children of Israel. And I'll leave it there.
Right. And D-Red, man, you could chime in on this because I love when you bring this up and you talk about this, D-Red, about the presence of chicken in Africa. So this is something that can be tracked, and we are looking at certain particular practices that these people are practicing. What did he say, Priest Danyaahla? What was the reason that was given that these people are practicing this particular culture? He said that it's Catholicism, but Catholics don't have these Hebraic practices. So I'm trying to understand how in the hell is he making that equation?
Because he don't know. I can tell you that he don't know. Like, okay, let's talk about. I mean, we got other ones. So when people get to want to bring some stuff up, but because since we got the brother Danyaahla, who we gonna talk about it? You brought up the chicken, right? The chicken ain't indigenous to West Africa, right? So now, so we got two things that the chicken was used for. You know what I'm saying? That we know that ancient Israelites used the chicken for. Ancient Israelites used the chicken for sacrifice with the kapra, where they sacrificed chicken. Then we know that the Israelites were the first to eat and consume chicken and not have a chicken fight, have chickens fight. Like all throughout Asia, they first was using chickens to make them fight. All right. Now you see the chicken, same use of the chicken in voodoo ceremonies, Ifa ceremonies, and other ceremonies in West Africa. You see the same uses of the chicken. You see what I'm saying? You see the consumption of the chicken in West Africa. You know what I'm saying? Which was something that was brought there because the chicken in and of itself is not indigenous to West Africa. You got terracotta statues and terracotta what you call it, figurines in West Africa. You know what I mean? That the terracotta figure, the making of terracotta figurines is not indigenous to West Africa. That was started in the Levant. I mean, we got several things that we can see that cowrie shells, use of cowrie shells. I mean, it's too many things that you can iron. I mean, when you look at the note culture didn't have a Bronze Age. You know what I'm saying? They went from the Stone Age to the Iron Age. No, you don't find it nowhere else on the planet without going through the steps. You know what I'm saying? To learn and understand the metallurgy. So it's people that say that they don't even know. Again, they don't study nothing but their own confirmations. And to speak on what Danyaahla said, the first step in the scientific method, you know what I'm saying, of research methodology is to first check your own bias at the door. That's the first step in research methodology.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Jabari can't do that, he's not a scholar or a researcher. Because in the scientific methodology, first thing you got to do is check your own bias at the door. And the fact that he can't do that, he's disqualified.
I think that's the difference between me and a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hey, D-Red, don't forget irrigation. Irrigation comes from the Middle East. Then all of a sudden you see that technology go to West Africa. You know what I'm saying? Being introduced into Africa, period. Going through Carthage, and then through Carthage, through the Sahara, down below the Sahel, and into sub-Saharan Africa. So it's just a mountain of evidence that we can show for cultural diffusion. You know, the ideas and beliefs and practices of a people being spread throughout Africa. Where did they start? In the Levant. They can't get around that. You know, you can dance around a subject and say all these things on Sonetta's platform, but at the end of the day, the people that are studious, we not even, paying attention to y'all. As my grandmother would say, we not studying y'all because y'all not really studied on the topic. And it shows because you wouldn't even make that statement.
Right.
Or those comments.
Well, Danyaahla, man, tell me, man, was the correct me if I'm wrong, did he say the reason that we see these cultural practices in West Africa is because of Catholicism?
In a nutshell, yes. He was basically saying that Europeans introduced these customs to us, and Catholicism was one of the things that he said. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Yes.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how is this possible when Catholicism don't hold to the practices that we see in Africa that links them to the Torah.
It doesn't, and that's the point. Like Jabari was a Roman Catholic, so all of his dogma comes from Roman Catholicism, which is why even I told him And this is when the camera wasn't rolled. I said, I said, Garfield, you're going to wipe the floor with you. Because this whole thing about how Christianity takes everything from Kemet, I said, you talking about post-Nicene Council stuff. That's what you're talking about. As you go to that first century Christianity, I'm talking about first century, you're not going to see all these parallels to Kemet like what you're seeing later on. I said, he going to wipe the floor with you. You don't understand that because you're dealing with that Roman Catholicism, so you're not going beyond that. So, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, he was talking about Roman Catholicism, which has nothing to do with the subject matter whatsoever, 100%.
Yeah, man, because it's kind of strange to me because they have particular practices that we can see today. But when you go into the practices of the Torah, such as purification, right? Such as the way they deal with burial, such as
right. Just to back you up, right? I'm gonna give you a perfect example of how you know Roman Catholicism doesn't jive with Israelite culture, right? Right here in New York, when you go to St. John Basilica, which is the big cathedral here in Manhattan, right? Shit is right there on 50th Street, right there in Rockefeller Center, St. John Basilica. All the cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church that were set up as cardinals by the Pope over St. John's Basilica. These are the cardinals that were over the New York, New Jersey area. All their bodies are buried in the basement of St. John's Basilica. You can go downstairs and you'll see all the bodies and everything buried right downstairs. That's not our custom. 100% not our custom. That's not biblical or nothing. You can't even come near a dead body. So 100% I'm just backing you up. What you're saying. Go ahead.
Right, yeah, man. So, like the book you was quoting, because I remember you had said something about Babylon Timbuktu, and I think you had said
So real quick, Babylon and Timbuktu, right? Rudolph Windsor didn't put a lot of sources in there. Like he didn't put where he was getting his information from, although the information is accurate, right?
Right.
So you have to go to previous works like Jewish encyclopedias and other things to see a lot of what he was talking about how the Israelites had separate communities. Not all of us, because we know, as I told him, and I know Jabari don't know the Bible, he was winging it. You always had Israelites that mixed with the other nations. We're not talking about them. You also had other Israelites that never mixed with the nations that wasn't with it. So there's a difference. You only will know that by reading the text. So I don't deny that you will see Israelites that were mixing with the West Africans, of course. But you also had Israelites that kept themselves to themselves and kept the custom and the culture, which is what Rudolph Windsor was talking about. But he didn't put the sources in Babylon and Timbuktu. But if you research, you can find a lot of these things in different Jewish encyclopedias and things like that, what he was talking about. He just didn't put the sources in there.
right, and then they try. That's why they try to discredit Rudolph R. Windsor because of that point. You understand? But when you get other books like Hebrewism in Western Africa, and when you look at Luda Equiano's book, you're seeing Hebraic practices that is not being practiced at all by Catholicism. So how could these influences, which are not influences, be the reason for the influence? It's just it's really just a way to muddy the water when you're talking about clearly these practices are older than Catholicism itself. And we see it in West Africa, which is amazing. You understand? And how are these things linking up with some of these separation that you do see in Africa? As because you spoke on this, you took them back to ancient Babylon. You made reference to our people mixing and mingling to the degree where children were being born. These are things that Nehemiah had to deal with, right? and these practices being passed down to their children, right? And how it was important that the priest and the priesthood be reestablished to put that influence back upon these particular people, man. So these things can be carried on into the dispersal of the children of Israel. Because you had made mention of also the Greeks and Hebrew Israelites that went there in captivity, and those that just simply moved there and adopted those cultures.
Can I say something real quick, YirmeYah? Because I know everybody on this panel ain't an Israelite, but brothers have to come up with better arguments than they come up with. Like I was watching Garfield today, and he was talking about, you can find certain words that go back to the Persian in some of the oldest manuscripts of the Bible. So that prove what the fuck does that prove? What does it prove? Just like in the New Testament, right? We know the manuscripts come from a Textus Receptus, and we also know they come from Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Vaticanus. We know the New Testaments of the Bible today come from those manuscripts, the Textus Receptus, the Codex Vaticanus, Codex Sinaiticus. So you'll see Greek words in there. But we also know you had Israelites, Jews that were Hellenized by the Ptolemies, right? You also had the Seleucids all the way down to the Antiochians that were Hellenizing our people. So you had our people, some of them that after certain generations couldn't even speak Hebrew, they were speaking Greek, but they were still our people. So some of our records would be in those languages. Doesn't mean that it was the actual Greeks that was writing these records, but it was our people that were Hellenized, speaking those languages, that were writing these records. It's the same thing with the Persians. So these dudes be coming with these arguments, and they don't really be arguments at all if you really study. Yes, you might find some words that might be cognates to so-called Old Persian. Why? Because we were there. So you can have some of our people that spoke that language. So you'll find some of those words in our records the same way you will in the Greek, the same way you will in the Latin, so forth and so on. This is not hard stuff. But because they hate the Bible so much, they make these little small things into big things. But we are ready for that. That's the point. But go ahead.
Yeah, so now I got to talk about the elephant in the room. I think this was a climactic part of the discussion with this so-called hard-hitting information that Jabari presented, that this loaded shotgun that he's been holding just for you, okay, about the sucking of the blood during circumcision. You gotta talk to me about this, brother.
All right. Well, now I'm glad you brought it up. Let me speak about that real quick, right? So I'm not someone that studies the Mishnah whatsoever. Nevertheless, the Talmud, right? But I also know that those are not. So let me just speak about that real quick. I'll try to be brief, right? He tried to make those ancient records. 200 AD is not okay. Well, compared to the time we live in now, that would be ancient records, but it's not really ancient records. Ancient records would be something that goes back BC, and not even 1 BC, like, you know what I'm saying, maybe 500, 1000 BC. That's like ancient stuff. So he tried to make some modernized stuff into ancient records. That's number one. That was a problem. He understood what I was saying, but he was playing games. Okay, cool. Now that's what I'm gonna say to you, right? I don't really study the Mishnah or the Talmud. Zion Lex reached out to me after I had that discussion and explained to me that there is something in the Mishnah that speaks about suction, right? But the suction is not a man sucking a baby's penis. That's not what's in the Mishnah. And Zion Lex would know because he studies those records and he sent me the information. What he told me, and I can present to y'all what he told me, and I'm going to do some research on it too. The suction that's mentioned in the Mishnah is not a man sucking on a baby's penis, but it's actually, the suction is a gauze, meaning after you do the circumcision, you're supposed to wrap the baby's penis in some type of gauze, and the gauze suctions the blood out of the penis. It's not a man doing it. He said what it was you have the European Jews that got a hold of our records, and they took it and interpreted it to meaning that they were supposed to put their mouth on a baby's penis. He said, but when you actually go back to the records and look at the word there is not something meaning that you suck on a penis. It's actually a suction, meaning something is sucking the blood from the bleeding penis after the circumcision, is sucking it out, and he was like, "That's a gauze." Zion Lex sent me that shit. He sent me a screenshot with the Hebrew word, the whole nine. That's not my area of study. I'm not afraid to say that.
What?
But he explained it to me that that's what it is. So if you brothers want me to share that with y'all,
Yeah,
I'll share that with y'all, and y'all can do your own research. He sent me where it's quoted in the Mishnah. He told me to go look up the Hebrew word, and I'm gonna see that it's not talking about a man sucking on a baby's penis. But with that being said, and I'm gonna give you back the floor, YirmeYah. With that being said, nevertheless, as I told Jabari, even if it was saying that, that is not Torah. The Torah never told us to suck a baby's penis, and you can't show it. The best you could do is come modern times, not even during the Roman Empire, but even after the Roman Empire fell. That's not ancient history. After the Roman Empire fell is ancient history. And he didn't expect me to understand and know that history. So he kind of looked a little shocked when I brought it out to him. So I'll just leave it there. Go ahead.
powerful. And I'm so thankful, man. And I definitely want to see that, man, because I know, and for you brothers that are watching, if you ever get confronted, because they like to recycle information in the so-called conscious community, if they feel that they got "I got you" moment, they're going to recycle that. And I guarantee you're going to be confronted with that. And so it's imperative that soon as I get the information, we're going to release it on the source so you all can have access to that, man.
Can I just give YirmeYah real quick? A comment. Sometimes certain things is just common damn sense. If you get a cut in your flesh, right? You know what I'm saying? You got some people that might, like, if you cut your finger, some people do suck the blood out. I mean, you see people do that. They suck the blood out, right? But most people don't do that. They put a Band-Aid on it or some gauze. You saying you get a cut anywhere in your body, you put some Band-Aid and some gauze. You have surgery, you put some Band-Aids, and I mean, not Band-Aids, put some gauze on a cut, and the Band-Aids, and the gauze and the tape and everything. What does that do? That suctions out the blood until it stops bleeding. Like, it's common sense. It's common sense. Nobody does that but them so-called Jews. Nobody does that to an open cut but them so-called Jews. Everybody got sense but them. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And I mean, it's just sickening. And then he tried to equate that because he tried to say, okay, if it wasn't the white man that wrote that, he tried to equate the original Babylonian Talmud to that. And I don't believe he pulled that source because he gave a date on that, right?
He read from a book of an author that was quoting another author, which I said to him, I said, that's not a primary.
Right.
And that's what he does. He's like, Jabari is not, he might be a historian and he's good at quoting. Jabari is not a scholar. Like, Jabari is not going to give you a primary the way James Cassell or Jashub or others will give you a primary, like, this is where it comes from. He's going to read some book and just quote from the book because it's enough for him that it's speaking against our culture. That's enough for him. You say, but it was no primary. That's why I asked him, I said, where's the primary?
Yeah, so he's just going to give you commentary and use that as primary source.
European commentary of people who's going to suck somebody's, because they see the word suction. If I could, right, let me see if I could, matter of fact, right, let me see something, right, if you don't mind, I'm gonna pull up what Zion Lex sent me, and I'm gonna share my screen so we all can see it together. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's all see it together so we all can learn together, right? So Zion was in my inbox, he was going in, right? So let me make sure I can find it, because he was going crazy. I didn't see. Okay, here it is, right here. Boom. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up for y'all right now. Okay, if you don't mind me, let me share my screen. Hopefully, you guys can see it. Okay. All right. So this is it. Let me know when you can see my screen, YirmeYah.
Got you.
You got it? You can see it?
Yeah.
All right. So this is something. Listen, I'm never one to tell you I know everything because I don't know everything. If I didn't study it, I didn't study it. I didn't study the Mishnah, but I knew that wasn't in the Torah. But the brother was going crazy during when I was live. You know what I'm saying? He was supporting me, but he was also letting me know he read the Mishnah, and that was some bullshit Jabari was saying. So here's the proof, right? So this is Zion Lex, right? He put this in my inbox on Facebook, so y'all won't see this, but y'all have this now, and I can forward it to y'all, right? He said, Both the Mishnah Shabbat 19:2, which is what Jabari was quoting, and Shabbat 133b discuss the health risks for circumcision. He said the Mishnah, which is the source of the Talmud, says that we suction, metziza in Hebrew, the wound, and place a bandage of cumin, an herb with the disinfectant properties. The Talmud, which is a commentary on the Mishnah, says any Amhoel, ordained and trained ritual surgeon, who does not suction the wound creates a danger to life, possible deadly infection for whenever the blood clots and pools infect can set in, right? So these are the words that we're looking for. The word in the Hebrew, according to what he told me, is something that's a suction, which is like a bandage and so forth and so on, all right? He said, however, Orthodox European Jewry practice metziza. Now remember, right? Let me see real quick. They practice metziza bipe, to suction by mouth. They believe that by using one's mouth to suction, one can control the blood flow more, when in reality, this act makes the suction worse, as it can expose the infant to any blood-carrying diseases, as we saw in Brooklyn, where babies were popping up with herpes and all types of other stuff from these dudes doing this thing. This sick and despicable who was using their mouth as opposed to a gauze or instrument. The main thing to note here is that neither the Mishnah nor the Talmud, which both predate European Jewry, promotes this abominable act. Please learn the difference, right? So he sent me this, right? You guys can see is Shabbat 19:2 in the Mishnah. Y'all guys can look this up yourself. 700 CE. You have the Talmud, Shabbat 133b. You guys can look this up yourself. All right. So forth and so on. And you guys can see where it went from being a gauze that was used to suction the blood during the circumcision to where it was by mouth by the so-called Jews. And if any of you guys need this, I'll send it to YirmeYah, and YirmeYah can distribute it to you brothers.
Source up, baby.
Now this is something I admit I've never studied, but he has. So all praise to the Most High. So we as Israelites, we got each other's back. The brother called me immediately and was like, "You was right, but here's the source to back up what you were saying." But I knew in the spirit I was right. That's not in the Torah. We don't do that.
Right.
There, YirmeYah, you got the floor.
Man, source up, man. Source up, man. It's imperative that we become familiar with these arguments, man. Because I guarantee they're going to pull this on you. They're going to pull this on you. Looking at what these heathen are doing, attempting to steal our culture for themselves and bringing in abominable practices. So it's not enough, family, for us just to say, no, that's not it, or we don't do that. It's not enough to say that, family. We got to be able to go into the sources, man, and legitimize and defend your stand. So all praise and glory to the Most High for you brothers and the work that y'all doing, man. Shout out to Zion Lex, man. All right, man. So how did things kind of wrap up, man? And did y'all, say y'all wanted to have another discussion? I think, man, what would be great to see, Priest Danyaahla, is an actual presentation with cited sources for this particular argument. If he's willing to do it, man, because it'll be an embarrassment.
So he didn't really express much interest after our conversation of having a further conversation. So after the cameras went off, we went into the whole thing. I didn't even watch the video to see where some of his cameras went off, but we had a conversation about the Passover. Did y'all see that? Y'all tell me, because y'all watched the video. I didn't watch the video Sunday that had on the channel. Did it cut off before the Passover part or no?
Did it say?
Yeah, it cut off. It cut off when you said that that's gay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna fill y'all in on what else we talked about. Because Sonetta, I noticed he just started posting up some of the other videos on Sonetta Studios. So we had a conversation about the Passover, right? Of course, Sonetta brought the Passover. He said it was evil, it was wicked, was celebrating the killing of African children. I explained to him that that's not what the Passover is. The Passover is much greater than that. Of course, they did not accept my arguments. So they were saying that it's evil and it's wicked to celebrate the killing of women and children. That was their argument, of course. Of course. Let's cue the tug at the heartstrings, of course, right? So I explained to Jabari, and Jabari was playing games. If Sonetta posts this up, y'all will see. He's playing games, right? So I asked him, I said, Jabari, I said, okay, should we ever celebrate the killing of women and children? He said, no. I said, Jabari, there are monuments in Kemet, monuments,
Right,
nice suits, celebrating victories of war over
right.
other African people. And I said, you do realize that if they're celebrating a victory over African people, I said, you do realize that women and children in those wars died. Yeah, brother, but it's not the same as war. It's not the same as the Passover. I said, it doesn't. I said, so you're making a difference between what's in our records where it says the Passover angel killed the firstborn. You're saying that it's different when a Passover angel kills women and children, as opposed to when a nice suit is celebrating the fact that they went to war and killed women and children. And we went back and forth for a half an hour because he was playing games. He challenged me. He challenged me to say that that never happened in Kemet, right? He thought I didn't know. Now, granted, at the moment I couldn't remember, but Google is a great tool. It's a great tool. So he typed in Google, nice suits, monuments for war. First thing that came up, Ramses II. He was holding them dudes right by their hair. Brought it up. He said, Jabari says to me, you don't even know who that is. I said, that's Ramses II. It looked to me like he was defeated again. I said, bro, this dude is celebrating a victory of war. I said, when he went to war, he killed women and children, right? And so we went back and forth for a half an hour. Him and Sonetta was trying to argue with me. It's a difference between the death angel in the book of Exodus killing the firstborn of the Egyptians, women and children. It's different than if the Egyptian nice suit went to war and killed women and children. It's a difference. I said, I don't see no difference. I said, if you celebrating killing women and children, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it for Passover or you make a monument like Ramses II. And they got it, but they argued me down for 30 minutes. Okay, so that didn't go up. Y'all missed that. All right. Then we went into the argument about the what Brother Josh brought up, which was the Ankh Shashanki and all the so-called misogynistic works in the instructions of Ankh Shashanki, which was written during the Ptolemaic period. Well, at least the records, the copies that we have are from the Ptolemaic period. So he and I were going back and forth because the scholars say that's the copy that they have, but it may be older than that. But he was trying to just fixate it in the Ptolemaic dynasty as though it wasn't older, to say, well, see, the Egyptians weren't really ruling, so that's why it was misogyny there. But I'm like, brother, it tells you in these books, which Jabari has the same book I have, because he agreed with me. He was even quoting the book that I was quoting, that the author says that the records are probably older than Ptolemy. But he didn't want to deal with that. He wanted to stick it in the Ptolemaic era, which I allowed him to do. And I said, okay, if we're going to do that, if you're going to fixate these records in the Ptolemaic era and say they don't reflect the ancient Egyptian writings, I said, then why an hour ago were you arguing with me when I told you that this so-called practice in the Mishnah of sucking a baby's dick is not something that was in the Torah? Why was you arguing with me?
Right.
It don't make no sense. If you're telling me these are later writings that don't reflect the earlier writings, that's what I said to you when I said the Mishnah does not reflect the older writings of the Torah. You argued with me for 30 minutes. So that's the stuff y'all didn't see. So that's the stuff y'all didn't see. Some of them may or may not put that stuff out. I don't know.
Well, man, listen.
Hey,
Go ahead, Joshua.
I was about to say it is reflected in older literature because he's on record saying the oldest book in the world is the Maxim Ptah-hotep. And in that book, the Maxim 21, it clearly states, keep your woman from power and suppress her. That's what it says. Now,
Yashub, hold on 1 second. I don't want to cut. I'm Salakia for cutting you off. I know scripture said don't cut a man's speech, but I just want to help you out, right? Jabari, after I brought up Ankh Shashanki, right? Jabari said, I know there's something else you want me to talk to you. I know there's something else you want to talk to me about. I was like, no, there's not. He's like, yes, there is. I was like, no, there's not. He's like, yes, there is. I said, what do you think? I said, you think I want to talk to you about the maxims of Ptahhotep? He said, yes. He thought he had me. I said, Jabari, we already heard your weak explanation because you do know he made a response to you, Yashub, right? You do know he made. I'm not saying it was good, but he made a response to you.
No, I did not know he made it. Did you see it, Yashub?
No, I didn't see it.
Yes,
Nope.
He made a whole response to you on his channel at his shrine about a year ago. He's made a response to you since then. And so, okay, well, let me ask you this, Yashub. Did you see the video that I put on my channel that Brother Josh did?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you got it. Just so you're in the loop, you might want to watch the video that I did. So let me bring you up. That's why I interrupted you. I'm sorry for doing it, but I kind of wanted to bring you up to date. So I remember when Jabari came on some type of live you brothers had, and you asked him about the maxims of Ptahhotep, and you had him confounded. So he went back and looked at it, right? So he did a response to you and others in the community that used your work, and said that he went in and read it, and he said that when it says keep her from power, I'm not asking you to respond because we know it's bullshit. He said it means keep her from the judge or some dumb shit he said. Whatever. Okay, cool. The brother Josh, who did the video on my channel, he responded to Jabari about that breakdown and went into 2 additional translations of the maxims of Ptahhotep, 2 additional translations in addition to the one that you used, and showed that it was definitely talking about keeping the woman quiet, restraining her, right? So when he and I were talking about it, he responded and gave the same answer again. So he's aware of you guys' breakdown. He does not accept you guys' breakdown. He has his own breakdown of what that shit means. So I just wanted to make you aware of that he did see what you said. He did see what Brother Josh said. And he's basically saying that you guys are misinterpreting it, blah, 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 whatever. So you will see, I'm just making it clear, you will see that when Sanada puts that part out, which is not out, I just let him talk because I already know you're going to come back and Josh is going to come back. And since you guys made the initial argument, I left it alone. I let him talk. I asked him about it. I let him talk. I didn't rebut him. You guys can rebut him when you see his rebuttal. All right, but go ahead, Yashub. Sorry about that.
I mean, that's just fallacious as hell. I don't know how you reconcile the next part that says suppress her. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean? See, we start playing these word games and semantics instead of just reading it as is. You start to look silly. So that brother's silly, man. I would like him to read this whole thing in context and then break it down.
Well, he did. He started up, I would say, about maybe 6 or 7 lines from where you started. He started way up. And was showing how, and you can go back and look at this yourself. He was showing how it starts off speaking positively about your wife. And then it gets to that portion that you used. So that's the way I would want you to see it. Like I could tell you about it, but you got to see his response, and then you'll do better responding to it than if I could explain it to you.
All right, so I'm gonna pull it up on the screen and just read this because this is madness.
Let me see what you got, and I'll tell you where he started. Mm-hmm.
I have 21 pulled up.
Go up a little further.
No, I can't go up. This is just the translations of 21.
You see right there where it says, if you are excellently well off, you should establish a household and love your wife. That's where he started. There you go.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it says, love your wife with proper ardor, fill her belly, clothe her back, perfume is restorative for her limbs, make her joyful as long as you live. She is a field good for her Lord. You should not have her judged. So I guess he kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
The next line says, remove her from power, suppress her. When she sees anything, her eyes a storm wind to her. That's why you have to suppress her. Restraining her is how to make her remain in your house. Read this in context, man.
Right. So what I want you to do, Yashub, this is what I want you to do. I want you to wait for Sonetta to put the rest of the video out. You really need to see how he responded to this. And the reason why I didn't rebuttal him is because both you and Josh dealt with this. So I left it open-ended. I didn't say nothing. I let him talk, and I said, all right, no doubt. And I didn't say nothing. I want you to see how he deals with this because I can't really explain it to you better than what he's going to say. But he did some snake shit. I'm telling you.
This is silly. I'm gonna read. Look at line 11. A female who is under her control is rainwater.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I believe the book of Sirach says something similar, don't it?
Yes.
If you let the water
give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gather blood.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Sirach 25:24.
Right. And then it says 13, if you don't do this when one inquires after she has flown away. So basically, keep the head. If there's no hedge, the possession is spoiled. This is what this is saying. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when the Bible said it's misogynistic, when this ancient Egyptian document says it, he's got all type of ad hoc, post hoc arguments.
Exactly. And we all know that that's exactly the way they argue. That's the way they argue. So I'll be sure to make sure that
welcome to the source.
So the best way for us to deal with this, right? Yashub, as well as I'm gonna tell this to Brother Josh, the best way for us to deal with this is when Sonetta uploads that portion of the video, which is not out already. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to Yashub. Y'all watch it, and then you brothers can respond because Jabari was like, "Why are you not responding?" I said, "Because I'm not the person that pulled these texts. I didn't read these texts, and although I did read them, but I'm not the person that made the argument." So I said, I'm gonna allow the brothers that you are, because I'm sitting there. I guess I'm in front of him, but you brothers made the argument. That's why he wanted me to sit with him, because I put Jashub's video out against him, and I put Josh's video out. So he felt the way. So I'm sitting there, but I said I'm gonna allow the brothers that made the video to respond to you. So as soon as it comes out, I'm gonna hit y'all up. And of course, Jashub, if you do a video, if you want to come live on and address it live, you already know. No questions asked. Come through and do your thing.
Yeah, I can't wait till he go up there and drop that, because it's time to embarrass this dude again. Like, this is crazy. What does the word restraining mean? This is getting elementary at this point. What does the word restrain mean? We're going to have to break down basic English words to this guy.
He's a sneak oil salesman.
Let me ask this. Did he say anything about the actual English that is being read is a mistranslation? Did he say that at all?
Well, I brought up to him, which he didn't respond to, but again, as I mentioned, I left it open-ended because I said to him, I said, on this part, I'm not going to argue with you like I was doing everything else. I said, I'm going to allow you to respond to the videos that I simply posted on my page. Since it's not my scholarship, I'm not going to argue with you. So he did not respond because what Josh did, I'm sure Jashub could have do it too. Josh used 3 translations. So I said, Jabari, I said, he didn't use 1 translation, he used 3. And he still was making excuses. So I let him live because I already know that my brothers is gonna come back. Like if I make a statement, I'm not gonna expect nobody else to come behind me and clean up. I'm gonna come behind and say, this is why I said what I said. So I knew what I was doing. I told Jabari, I'm not gonna argue with you because he was already nervous, as I told y'all. You talking about people threatening his life, Israelites and all that. So I let him live. I said, all right, no problem. I said, I'm gonna ask the brothers about what you said. As soon as Senator puts it up, I'm gonna hit y'all up with that stuff. And y'all go in. You can come on my channel. You can come here. You can come on both channels and clean that mess up. I already know y'all could do it. That's why I wasn't worried. I was like, it's nothing.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's other translation that say, it said, give her that for which she seeth, and that towards her eyes looketh, so shalt thou keep her in thine house. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you're not gonna be able to get around it, man. But man, that's the reality, and that's the whole thing. Go back to, you know what I mean? Why her ship should have to dress up like a dude, the rules.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What James at? James, you still on there?
I think he watching from YouTube.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot. I mean, James brought up a good point of when they burn them women up. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? In
yeah, I'm
Egypt.
familiar with that. The king was blind or something like that, and he had to find virgin urine, pretty much. Was it virgin period blood or urine? I'm trying to remember the story.
It was urine.
It was urine. So he would search these women that were virgins and have them urinate on his eyes, according to the story, to gain his sight back. And if he didn't get his sight back, he would have her burnt because she wasn't a virgin.
But you know, I use common sense, right? I asked Jabari, I said it's funny what you guys will see. I said it's funny that you talking to me about all this woman power stuff. I said, you said you and your wife are co-equals in the Shrine of Ma'at, but I only see you talking. I said, Anika's never on Sinetta. Never. I said, Polite's wife is never on. I said, you know what I'm saying? Baba Heru, like you name whoever you want to name from Kemet. I said, you guys all talk this all equality stuff in Kemet, but there's only men coming on here talking. I said, where's the women? Where's the women? Polite's wives don't talk. So y'all call us misogynists, but y'all be doing the same thing. You say you only see Hebrew men. I only see niggas that from Kemet, him saying talking too. I said, what's the point? You guys are hypocrites.
and then I'm gonna say something there, y'all. I know niggas ain't gonna like it, but the reality is, can't no yeah, all right. Hold on, let me say this. I want you to go in on that story, Jane. Can't no man that ain't got no kids tell me about nothing about no household. It's easy to be co-equals when if y'all both going to work and y'all both coming home together and nobody's not responsible for nobody but yourselves. It's easy to be equal in a framework like that. But in a relationship framework where there's kids and somebody has got to govern the kids while somebody else got to go to work, it's going to always be a structure. It got to be a structure. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, can't no dude that ain't got no kids tell nobody how to run it, what's best for how to structure a house with kids. Well, he's out of pocket for that, and then he was out of pocket for telling women what they should and shouldn't want. That's misogynistic in and of itself. That's patriarchal in and of itself. When as a man trying to speak for all women, like you can't. My wife is like that nigga can't speak for me.
Well, I mean,
who the hell is he? He don't even, and my wife said he ain't even got no kids.
Even science tells you that men and women are not equal based upon there's time periods where a woman is incapacitated and a man's not. You understand? A man is able to produce more muscle mass than a woman is able to produce naturally. You understand? So all those things within itself let you know that there's even with the text that we just read, these things that are required of the man to provide for the woman. I didn't see anything in that particular text about the woman providing those things for the man equally. It should be equally providing that for each other. But I don't see that in the text. You understand? Whether you understand it or not, a man being obligated to provide is misogyny, man. I don't give a damn what you say, bruh. It is. Because that is the responsibility of a man based upon his science and his genetic ability to be able to produce more muscle mass and not and have no time periods where he's incapacitated, such as a woman during pregnancy or a monthly thing. You understand? So this is just genetic science, man. You're just looking at it, man. It's evident. But you want to promote science, but then speak against science at the same time. I yield.
Right. There is no equality of men and women in ancient Egypt, and it's very androcentric and patriarchal. And like a lot of the examples he used are very, very laughable, man. Because he talked about, oh well, the women were priests. They were pretty much flower girls.
Right.
They were flower girls. You know, these were priestesses. Yeah, flower girls. When you read about them,
what about the sacred prostitutes? The temple prostitutes.
See, I wasn't gonna go there with it. I'm just gonna stick to the flower girls.
Damn.
A lot of the said that Pharaoh Cheops, whoever that's supposed to be, sold his daughter into prostitution just to get money to construct the temple.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of us say. Then he talk about Ubaner, who was a pharaoh who burnt his wives for adultery. You got one tale where it talks about how a pharaoh was blind, right? So the oracle tells him in order to cure his blindness, he has to get pee put in his eyes from a woman who hasn't committed adultery. So he tests most of his wives, they all fail. He tests nobles' wives, they all fail. And then when he finally got someone who did cure his blindness through pee, he married her and then burned all the rest of the women in a village. And burned the whole village and women inside of it before adultery. Now that sounds like misogyny to me.
Right.
Which one of y'all want to put y'all wives up to the test? You know what I'm saying? If she can't cure Pharaoh's blindness with her pee, then he gonna set her on fire.
Hey, that's the Egyptian way of getting burnt. Yeah, man. So he got to answer. See, that's the thing. They don't want to answer to any of these things. They want to sit here and question the Bible all damn year. Matter of fact, they talk about the Bible more than we do.
Right.
Without the Bible, they don't got no conversation.
Yeah, outside of it, they ain't got no conversation. Why are you not teaching the maxims? Why are you not teaching any of the Egyptian principles or going into any law codes? Oh, I forgot. Egypt don't have a codified law code. There ain't one.
Hey, it's hard to romanticize with the truth. You know what I'm saying? The truth ain't always pretty. It'd be easy to romanticize, man. That's why they don't.
And boy, here goes the troll in the back chat. Boy Blue, show where the Most High command that in. What are you talking about? That's psychobabble right there, folks. You know what I'm saying? So if you brothers are so enamored by ancient Egypt, why don't you teach about it more? Why are you focused on the Bible so much? Why are you focused on Judeo-Christian beliefs if you so goddamn Kemetic? If I was a Kemetic, I'll be over there talking about the priesthood, the foods we ate, the culture. I don't never hear them talking about that, man. My bad, Yashar. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, see, this is what we talking. Okay, so you asking about Kemet, right? Or Kemet, right? When again, if you're saying that there is no Babylon, then there is no Kemet, bro. What are you talking about now? Like, you gotta understand what you be asking, man. You understand what I'm saying? Again, you said that there was no Babylon. That was you that made that statement. Now you coming on here asking the question, saying show you something. Right? Like, make up your mind, bro. They go hand in hand. If you didn't understand. And the things that was the gods that was worshipped in Egypt, the same was worshipped in Babylon. So I mean, what are you talking about, bro?
And then misogyny is asking, that's a dumbass question, really. To show where the God commanded. That had nothing to do with it. It's about misogyny, meaning men taking power and ownership of women, supposedly, quote unquote. That's what it's about. It's not about God commanding anything. It's about just misogyny in general. You see what I'm saying? When you look at the scriptures that Barry brought up at the Bible, it wasn't God talking. That was Paul talking. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So that's not the point. The point is we just gave quick, off the fly, off the cuff examples of misogyny and Kemet. Just that quick. You see what I'm saying? So the stuff that's what I'm saying. This is why those guys don't really get no respect except for people who don't know nothing. As my granddad said, to a nigga that don't know shit, a nigga that know a little bit know a lot. But to a nigga that know a lot, the nigga that know a little bit don't know shit. It just all depends on who your audience is and who talking. So he don't really be Jabari don't really know none of this shit. That's why he ain't on side of the teaching and shit. You see what I'm saying? They're selling you niggas fools though. Now if you choose to believe a nigga that try to use the Jesus mysteries as a scholar, then
Sure.
then you are fucking retarded. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. It's our little retarded to have a nigga on there.
All right, man. So real quick, man.
Can I
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
man. D Red. No, go ahead, Jeremiah. He got me laughing over here, man. These guys are crazy, man.
Yeah, real
Jesus
quick, man. If you wanna support the channel, you want to support the league, we appreciate the support. Garments of Vengeance. We got a new T-shirt that's out right now. You can pick up our Source Debate League T-shirts, and there you go, right there. Source Debate League T-shirt right here. Put it on the screen. Source Debate League T-shirts. Support the league. The lightning bolt is in leather, right? With gold embroidery on it. So, DM me or reach out to me, man, and I'll get you taken care of. We also have the new King Judah shirts that you can get. I don't know if you can see that. The new King Judah shirts. Listen, man, Garments of Vengeance. Steady rocking and rolling, doing our thing, man. Let me know, man. DM me on Facebook, YirmeYah. Yah. Contact me on Instagram at YirmeYah. Please say the Yah. Right? My name is on the screen. So I appreciate
Can I say something real quick, Jeremiah?
Yeah.
I remember now what I wanted to say real quick to what D-Red was saying. This is for us on the panel as scholars, including myself, right? You guys will see when the video comes out, right? Anything that's in the New Kingdom, especially during the foreign rule, I'm talking about the Persian rule and ultimately the Greek rule of Kemet, they're trying to throw that shit in the trash, which a lot of times the priesthood, you still had the native Egyptians that was doing the priesthood, especially during the time of the Greeks. But I said that to Jabari, but he wasn't trying to hear it. But he knew what I was talking about. He wasn't trying to hear it, right? When we're looking for, let's say, hypothetically, we're looking for misogyny in ancient Kemet, we need to try to find it in the Old or the Middle Kingdom. I'm not saying we can't use the New Kingdom, but just make sure it's not during the dynasties where there's foreign rule, because that kind of gives them some wiggle room. Not with us, because we know what it is, but with the followers. So the Maxims of Ptahhotep is beautiful because that's from the Old Kingdom, right? And we can find other stuff in the Old and the Middle Kingdom that's misogynistic, and that just requires somebody going through their text. I'm sure it's in there. We need to do that. But the later you go, that's why he was able to argue me about Ankh Shashanki, because although the scholars say it may be older, the copy that we're using is from the New Kingdom, during the time of the, during the Ptolemaic period. Then Jabari tried to tell me, which lets me know that this scholarship shit is a game to him. He told me that the Ptolemaic rule in Egypt is not the New Kingdom. I'm like, brother, you just made that up, because the Persian rules in the New Kingdom, the Greek rules in the New Kingdom, all that. He said it's not. I said, well, the books I have on Egypt say that's the New Kingdom, but he told me I was wrong. So he's just making shit up as he go. So we have to be very careful. These guys are very slippery.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll see it when it comes out. He told me I was wrong. The Ptolemaic rule was not the New Kingdom. I just looked at him. I said, man. I said, all right, bro. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you that. But I know he's full of shit. But I'm gonna give you that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about. It wasn't for me. It wasn't about there to be contentious. People like y'all brothers that know history. Y'all know he don't know what the fuck he talking about. So I already knew that. So I said, I'm gonna let you have that. But I'm just trying to show you how slippery he is. So the earlier writings that we could find, as far as misogyny, if we're gonna have a conversation about misogyny, if you can find something in the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, the early New Kingdom, before the Persians, before the Greeks, if you can find that, it's better for us because it gives them less of a buffer to argue. He was arguing with me about the Ankh Shashanki stuff because that was during the Ptolemaic rule, at least the copies that we have. But I showed them that the scholars say it's probably older than that, but we don't have those records. That's the problem. That's it.
Can we get Jabari over here? Can we get Jabari over here? Because I'm gonna ask him. Okay, let's do the Ptolemy thing, right? Who were the people in the land of Egypt during the time of Ptolemy? The Ptolemaic rule. Was it a blanket of white people? Were the Egyptian who taught them Egyptian customs?
It was obviously the Egyptian priests, just like we taught. We wrote the Septuagint. We know this, but he was arguing with me about it because the people in Sunday, no disrespect in case Sunday is listening, but we all know this. Shub, you know this. D-Red, you know this. YirmeYah, you know. The people in Sunday's chat are stupid. I'll leave it there.
Well, man, I think they're one thing about so-called conscious community. If you're able to piece together certain big words and sound, like you have a certain level of intelligence, then they'll take your word for it. You understand? When within our culture, it's the opposite, right? We have to be able to take complex ideas and complex measures and simplify them to a way that a child can understand. That way, information has a better chance of flowing through our community. But them, on the other hand, they honor people for their rhetoric.
Go on. I'll ask. I'll talk to Sunday and ask if he wants to come over here, but I doubt it. I've
talked to him a couple of times. I've talked to Jabari a couple of times, and he said he would do it, but that was
he might. Of all of them, he might. I know the rest of them won't because they have to be in a comfortable space where they could be saved when y'all really start jumping on their neck about sources. But he might.
Because that's what it's about, man. At the end of the day, like we don't want to take your word for it, man. You know what I mean? Even if I agree with what you're saying, I need you to show the people that are watching. You understand? These are supposed to be platforms that teach and allow people to go and research the information that's being presented. Very important.
Let's be real, right? I'm just gonna be real for a second, right? Jabari is a good brother, and he's a good debater. As I mentioned, he went to Cornell University, and they teach you how the art of debate. The art of debate is not about bringing right information; it's about debating. And we all know, as Jashub just so eloquently pointed out, anybody that uses the Jesus mysteries and the Jesus wars as a source is not a scholar. You're just not. Let's be real. And these are sources that he relies upon heavily, amongst others. So you guys, and no matter who talks to him, no matter what it is, you're going to wash him up, of course. If you're using sources like that, of course, you'll wash him up. So, it's to get him over here and shit like that's going to be different. But he's going to be slippery, I'm telling you. Like, when y'all see the rest of it, he was slippery. I'll let him live, though. I'll let him live. Because in the midst of all our conversation, he kept telling me about how many people was threatening him and stuff like that. And so I'm like, all right, I see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So let me try to be as unimposing as possible. Let me not try to, because you're going to use that later and say, see these Israelites, I already saw the spirit. Anyway.
Tell him to stop channeling his his feminine energy. That's his problem.
So you know what your problem is? You know what your problem is? You're more, and I don't want to say you're more direct than me, but I'll let a nigga live to kill him later. You ain't gonna let him live. You're not gonna let him live to kill him later, just sure. You're gonna kill him right there.
Yeah. Hey, Danyaahla, you brought up his debate with Garfield. Is that supposed to happen for real, or they just pump faking?
We had a conversation about that behind the scenes, and Sanada was mentioning a particular place that he mentioned to Jabbar, we need to do this right now, and he said he was going to check it in on a particular place, so they're going to do that. I asked Jabari about that. I don't know if Sanada's going to put that part up. I told Jabari, I said, I don't think you're going to win this debate. I don't think, because you're bringing fourth century and beyond Christian arguments to an argument about the first century Christian. Meaning,
And I took.
do we see these Kemetic parallels in the first century Christianity as opposed to where we all agree we see it 4th century and beyond? And you bringing that, and I told you, bro, I said, you're going to lose that. There's no way. I said, there's no way. But he said he's going to win it. I said, all right.
But I mean, but that goes to show you he hasn't studied nothing about what was going on in the 1st century in Judea. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't done no research. That's what I'm saying. Like if you get to trying to bring you know what I'm saying, all them old school books, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, stolen legacy and all that stuff. If you get to try to bring that stuff, Garfield gonna watch him. I've been because I even told Garfield a while back when he first told me he was gonna debate Jabbar. I told him keep him in the 1st century and you're gonna watch him. Keep him in the 1st century, it's over. He's not gonna have because he's not gonna be able to show none of that with what they were doing. You're not gonna be able to see it. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, Jabbar's not a scholar. You know, I don't give a damn if you went to Harvard, Cornell. That don't impress me. You know what I'm saying? The fact about it is your methodology is faulty because you can't get past your own bias. So once you can't get past your own bias, according to the scientific method, your whole thing is going to be tainted. If you come with a tainted, if you have a bad methodology, you're going to come with a bad conclusion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And his methodology is so bad, it's so horrible that his conclusions are going to be horrible. That's why Zion Lex watched him.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because his methodology is horrible. You see what I'm saying? He can't get past his own bias and say, okay, well, yeah, that's true. Okay, well, yeah, that's true, but let me see if I can. You know, he don't know how to do that. He's only gonna look for stuff that confirms what he believes. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna be his downfall against Garfield. Garfield gonna watch him. It's not even gonna be close. I even gave Garfield a few books. Shout out to Garfield.
That's a damn shame because he ain't gonna never give you no credit, bro. He ain't give you no credit.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, look, I appreciate you coming on, man, sincerely. It's always a pleasure and honor, man, for us to be able to chop it up. You understand? And being the vanguards of, this truth and placing our ancestors in antiquity. Because according to a lot of brothers out here, there's no such thing as an Israelite, right? We never existed in Western Africa. Slavery in Egypt didn't happen. King David, Solomon, none of the prophets, none of these people ever existed. You understand? And if they did exist, they're definitely not black. So it's imperative that we continue on and stand at the front line, at the forefront of this fight. And
well, you know, that's a. Can I say something real quick? Just shoot. Sorry, YirmeYah. That's an easy argument. We don't have to spend a lot of we don't have to spend a lot of time on that. And so it's simple logic. I'll give you that 1, 2, 3, right? We want to know what is their criteria to somebody existing or not. That's all I want to know. Once they explain to you what their criteria is existing or not, you're gonna put them right to sleep. Do you not know there's absolutely no evidence of any of the pharaohs of the 16th or 17th dynasty existing outside of Egypt? Nothing. There's not a body. There's not a tomb. Nothing. The only reason why we know those guys existed in the 16th and the 17th dynasty is because of the cartouches on the walls. That's it. When you go to the first dynasty, the second dynasty, and the third dynasty, prior to mummification, the only way we know those guys existed is by their cartouches on the wall. There's absolutely no bodies that have been found. So it's a very easy argument that every time that they bring it up, I'll be so excited. I'm like, okay, so what criteria are we using? You got to set the standard. So the criteria is a body. The criteria is that we have to read about this particular person in another culture somewhere else besides. Okay, so you say that outside of the Bible, there's no proof that people in the Bible existed because you don't read about them nowhere else. So I'm going to apply that same standard to Kemet. Let's start in Dynasty 1, 2, and 3. Then let's get to 16 and 17. Show me any of those guys, their bodies, their tombs, or them being mentioned outside of Egypt. And that's the conversation right there. It's over. It's done. That's
body
it.
bag.
It's a body bag. That's it.
Yeah, man. So, I've been dealing with a lot of Christians as of late. And one thing that I've been posing to them is, when did Christianity stop following the mission of Christ when he said, go out and seek the lost sheep of the house of Israel? When did that turn into anybody that want to accept Christ? Even if we're standing on, okay, anybody can follow the ways of Christ, but when did specifically the finding the lost sheep become not important? You understand? You have these Jews over here claiming to be Jews. Some say they're Benjamin, some say they're Levi. But what about Naphtali? What about Issachar? What about Simeon? Where is the rest of these people at? And if you're going to if we're going to be the body of Christ, and there's a part of the body that is sick, it's imperative that we work towards the healing and the restoration of that particular body. And it just so happens that these poor people that are up on the bottom they're missing something that the rest of the earth has. And that's history, that's culture, and identity. These people say it don't matter, but yet everyone else has this critical element which helps them with their social development. You understand? So I've been working diligently to raise the level of the importance of restoring these people, mind, body, and soul.
Can I tell you something real quick before you go, YirmeYah?
Yeah.
It's the very culture. If you read the book Hebrews to Negroes, not Hebrews to Negroes, I'm bugging. If you read the book Hebrewisms of West Africa, that's one of the ways that they traced the people that went to the New World, how we're the Hebrews. It is through culture. The whole book is about culture. They studied the culture in all of its aspects, and that's how they were able to link us in the West here back to the people in West Africa who have an oral tradition that they come from Israel. It's that simple. So any Negro that tells you they're an Israelite but they ain't dealing with culture is lost. You're just lost. You don't know a damn thing, and you're borderline a Christian. And that comes from me. Anybody else talking, that's coming from me.
Right, man. And any civilization.
Hold on 1 second, YirmeYah. Somebody asked in the chat, can we get any of the prophets' bodies of the Bible to even be taken historical? Well, let me ask you a question, Craig Scruggs. Let me ask you a question. Can you show me any of the bodies of the pharaohs in Egypt from Dynasty 1, 2, or 3 to prove that they were historical? Can you do that? Now, let's give each other the same standard. Show me a body that has been recovered from Dynasty 1, 2, or 3. Because I bet you're going to tell me they were real people. Show me a body.
And let's
Dynasty 1, 2,
and let's take it further. And let's take it further than that, Danyaahla. Ask him where's Genghis Khan's body? Where's Kublai Khan's body? Where's Alexander the Greek's body?
Right.
Where's King Darius' body? So it's called the Aristotelian dictum, when you got to apply the same line of thought across the board in every situation.
Now he's saying it's non-secular. So now you want to apply a different standard to the Bible and then the rest of the history. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Big, man.
We're not doing that.
Craig, this is what I can do for you, Craig, right? What I can do, this is tanks on the ground. You know what it is. I can show you the tomb of Ruth, right? Where they located it at, according to their understanding, right? Since we ain't able to dig up, and so everybody is getting secondhand, third-hand, fourth-hand information, right? So because they gave you some information about Egypt with nobody as evidence, I can show you a tomb of Ruth. Can you show Priest Danyaahla what he just asked you? Without
ask it again, Yashar. You was going in and out.
Can you continue? Can you address the question Priest Danyaahla asked you?
This guy's playing games. No, hold up, Slakia Yashar. This guy's playing games. I didn't ask you about thousands of mummies being recovered. I agree with that. They have thousands of mummies. I asked you for your kings, not the mummies that they done recovered. That most of them are from the New Kingdom. I didn't ask you that. I know you came over here, thought you had something, but you don't have nothing. We're asking you. Let's start at the beginning of Kemet. Kemet is the oldest civilization. Let's start at the beginning with your kings. You can Google it while we're talking. Show me any bodies of your pharaohs from the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd dynasty. We can skip to the Middle Kingdom, 16 or 17. Show me where their bodies have been found. Because you say if you don't have a body, they didn't exist. So show us. We'd love to see it.
Hold up.
And I'm starting in Egypt. If I was to go to pre-dynastic Egypt, way before they ever started mummifying, if I was to go to Kush and Punt and ask you to show some of those bodies before Kemet, you'd be finished. So I'm not even being unfair. I'm asking you just about Egypt. Show us some bodies from the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd dynasty. Because you guys say if you don't have a body, they didn't exist. You guys are always bragging about how many mummies. Yeah, it's a weak argument, but you ain't answering it. You said they have thousands of bodies. From where are those thousands of bodies from? What dynasty is that? Is it the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, or the New Kingdom? Those thousands of bodies you just mentioned, where are they from? Help us out. Teach us. We're going to be quiet. I know it's a weak argument, so teach us. Those thousands of bodies they found, is it from the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, or the New Kingdom? I bet you they're not from the Old Kingdom. I bet you.
Hey, D-Red. This one is for you. Alexander's tomb is found in America.
It's found where?
In America.
What? You can have that.
I'm not even gonna dignify that with an answer, man. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life.
I knew you was gonna get a kick out of that though. When rocks cry out, brother.
Yeah. When rocks cry out, brother.
Let me just say this real quick, right? Let me just say this real quick. I don't want to dominate, but these guys, you don't understand how many Kemetic dudes out of argue. You saying this is some pseudo methodology, but you sure ain't answering. You got a lot to say, but you're not answering. Ain't nothing pseudo because I'm not presenting no information. I'm asking you for information. How am I pseudo by asking you for information? I ask you to provide me with
Danyaahla, this
bodies of pharaohs.
This what you should have been doing. The priest over there, man. But go ahead.
Jabari didn't want that. That's why I was kind of giving him a break. I want bodies of pharaohs from dynasty 1, 2, or 3. Furthermore, let me just say this, and I'm gonna fall back. Right?
Yeah.
You have pharaohs whose cartouches are on the wall at Abydos. I'm gonna give you a name. Like you got Merenhor. Now I'm going above your head, Craig Scruggs. I'm going above your head, like we Israelites do. I'm going above your head. You have a pharaoh named Merenhor. His cartouche is on the wall at Abydos. Outside of his cartouche being on the wall at Abydos, we don't know nothing else about him. Nobody's ever found a body. Nobody's ever found a papyrus that tells you when he was born, who his wife was, who his children was, nothing. We don't know nothing about this guy. Nothing except his cartouche is on a wall at Abydos. So I want for you, Mr. Scholar that says we're pseudo, I want for you to give us information about Merenhor, Merenhor. He is a pharaoh during the Middle Kingdom whose cartouche is on a wall at Abydos. What proof do you have that he existed outside of his cartouche being on the wall? What else proof do you have? The floor is yours, my friend. Put it in the chat. Let us know. Teach us, because we pseudo. So teach us.
Right. So
I didn't ask you about this. You watch this, Jeremiah. You see that? Did I ask him about the 6th dynasty? Did I ask him about I said 1, 2, 3, 16, 17. He's in here arguing about the damn 6th dynasty. Boy Blue says that's a horrible argument. Y'all ask about Egypt. Y'all ask about is Egypt Israelites have no information. You're not answering my question. You see how you guys play? That's what Jabari was doing. That's what Jabari was doing. I'm asking you questions about your culture. You have no answers, so you are deflecting. You're deflecting because you guys have no answers. We already know.
Yeah, and what's your reasoning why you can't produce these bodies, man? What's up with that, man?
Because bodies are not proof that somebody freaking existed. Because the only culture that had a culture of preserving bodies was Kemet. If you go up and down the rest of the Nile Valley, if you go to Punt, if you go to Kush, etc., none of these cultures had bodies mummified, so you can't find their kings either. It's only Kemet. So it's a stupid ass argument. The Israelites did not have a process of mummification, right? We had a process of burying our bones in ossuary, so forth and so on. We did not preserve the bodies. We couldn't even be around the body if you were a priest. That was not our culture. So you would not find preserved bodies of our prophets. We didn't do that. So it's not the same. It's a stupid ass argument by people that don't research. Yeah, we're slowish. Hey, you know what's so funny? I'm gonna fall back because I gotta go. You know, nigga said we stupid as shit, but guess what? He ain't answering our question though. I could be all day, nigga, but you ain't answering my goddamn question. Give me a body from the first 3 dynasties of Egypt. That's what I want to know. I want to know where is it in the museum? You said your boy said you got thousands of mummies. Goddamn, one of those mummies should be from the first 3 dynasties of Egypt. At least one. At least one of your pharaohs should be from the first. Oh, so now it ain't your culture. That's what I thought. Okay. You have a nice night, man. Nice night. Yeah, YirmeYah. You see why I don't get on here and debate with these niggas? Listen, man, it's beneath me. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, man, look. Keep doing your thing, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you coming on, man. And when I seen that, I was like, yo, man, I got to reach out to my brother, bring him on, because we was already talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, man, we got to get him on here so we can kind of dive off into some of these things, man. So I appreciate you, man, coming on, and keep doing what you're doing, man. We're going to keep supporting one another and bigging up the movement, man.
Yes, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all, brothers, for inviting me on here. I'm honored. I respect all you brothers, even the brother King Seth that may disagree with us or whatever. Like I respect all you brothers. You brothers are doing a great job. I'm watching on the sidelines. That's why I'm familiar with the arguments.
Yeah.
I'll be watching on the sidelines, whether y'all know I'm in here or not. I'll be watching. I'll be listening to these arguments, and I'm like, that was stupid. But I go do some research so that if I'm called to the carpet, I can just, I can come with my daggers ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm out of here, man.
I forgot, man, that you told me a couple of months back, man, that you was getting that itch to get in the ring, man. So you know what I mean? You gotta let the source host that, man.
If I do, there's no place else I'll do that but here.
That's right.
But just don't bring me these comment board niggas, man. These niggas stupid. Word. Like, let me
Yo, we gotta work something out, man. We gotta get you the right guy, man. But you just said it publicly, man. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely gonna be trying to work something out, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Peace and blessings to all you brothers, man. Thank you. Hey, yo, I didn't hear much from my brother Yashar today, man, but I see him still there. Peace to you, King. Much respect to you. Keep doing what you're doing. And I say shalom, man.
That's right, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, shalom, Mike.
All right, family. You know what I'm saying? There you have it, man. We keeping this thing rocking and rolling at the source, man. And listen, man, what's up with these guys, man? Got Ratchet Craig coming in the building. He should have been on the panel. All right, you know you had the link, Ratchet Craig. Could have came on, right? Yo, man, Anonymous Hebrew, man. What's the deal?
Thanks on the ground, Anonymous Hebrew. Was good. Craig, you know you the guy watched. That's why you stayed in the chats, brother. But it's all right. You know what time it is.
Right.
We'll hear about it tonight or tomorrow.
For sure, man. All right, family. We got more coming, right? We got shout out to Aborigine brothers, right? We trying to work something out with King Seth. Right. I seen what's the brother's name, man? That King Seth's supposed to be going up against.
Who's that? Chief Holiday?
Yeah. I seen Chief Holiday in the chat earlier, man. Shout out to Chief Holiday, right? That boy King Seth want all the smoke. right? All right, and I think he want to deal with, did slavery actually happen, right? So, hey man, General Yashar, man, tell the people about that motivated focus, boy.
Yeah, shalom, family. It's a state of mind, family. You know, your motivation should always fuel your focus to accomplish our goals, whether it's for self or for our communities, fam. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, if you look at the logo, right, the olive branches represent Yashar, right, being the northern tribe. Then we got the crown representing the southern tribe. You understand what I'm saying? So everything that's related to the logo itself, including the meaning of the word, the phrase motivated focus, is related to our heritage, family, to keep us motivated, to keep us motivated and focused to keep our law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? So this is what it is. This is what it's always going to be when it comes down to what I stand for and what the Most High has given me to bring forth to the family, right? So listen, you can find some merchandise on Instagram, Motivated Focus, and I got a page on Facebook. You can pull it up, Motivated Focus, but I'm gonna establish another one, so it's strictly business, right? And with that being said, also again, I got the Motivated Focus website still in the making, so be on the lookout for it, family.
Yeah, man. Garments of Vengeance, man. Got the new T-shirt. King Judah, right? Y'all get with me, man. Right? Catch up or get left behind, man. Keeping this culture going, rocking and rolling, man, and definitely trying to, you know, as Will Smith said, man, we're gonna make this look good, right? So we appreciate you all tuning in to the Source, man. Listen, if you haven't been to the Source YouTube page, the Source Debate League YouTube page, I need you to go there and subscribe, right? We're gonna keep pounding and presenting information to you all, right? More debates, more interviews, more presentations, right? More discussions coming your way, man, right? The Source is rocking and rolling, man. So with that, man, we up out of here, man.
Hey, Blue.
Right?
Hey, Blue, anytime you want to have a discussion with any of the brothers, bro, all you got to do is just let us know. You know what I'm saying? We'll bring you on. You can definitely speak your spiel, bro.
Yo, man, shout out to AOC, man. Shout out to AOC, man. Peace and blessings to the family, right? And checking the comment board, man. Peace to you all. We appreciate the love, man.
Yahweh War Machine, tanks on the ground. You know what time it is, family.
Yo, man, shout out to the SUC, man. Source up or shut up, man. We out of here.
Shalom.